That's what we need on the show is Big Al.
Since I was 15,
having to sing this live.
as to where behind the ears. Cause ever since then I've been hooked on the taste of beer.
Of beer.
I think we're really cool. Cause we're sitting by the pool with girls all around. Whoa, look what we just found. It's really, really cold this last feeling days, but we got beer.
Got beer.
Girl from Spain.
Seattle, so.
And Lolita was her name.
Rita.
Zipper got stuck.
If I had a soundboard, maybe I could sound cool like you.
Big Apple stuff. You shot with a shot. We got beer.
Got beer.
I'm glad for beer. I like the beer. From the bottom to the top. I just can't stop with beer. One, two, three, four.
Hello, Sean. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's another edition. Yeah, welcome. Hey, Barb Hartman in the house. Hello, Grizzly and Sportcat. Mike 9701 is in service.
It's good to know he's in service. We need those firemen.
Up there. Coast to coast and around the world, we got Grizzly and
Sportcat is in the house.
that is right, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, I tell you what, how has your week been? Mine has been like terrible.
Mine too. My car broke down. It had a camshaft oil valve control sending cylinder engine something or another. I don't know. And so I'd have it towed to Subaru, and I was stuck in the barn for over a week by myself.
Wow. No, Mike goes, there goes my window. So let me adjust my mic here. I'm a little bit hot. So let me turn it down.
I don't think it was the hot mic. I think it was the cat screeching. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I'm pretty
John
sure
says, just read the bio on your geese. He thinks the moon's landing was film production. We're getting ready to talk about that. So you had a bad week. So I had really a bad week. So you remember about that tooth, ladies and gentlemen, that Grizzly lost like 3.5 weeks ago, right? Remember I was sucking on a hot piece of candy. Remember I showed you a picture of?
Yeah, too much information.
So I was at the store, and I was like, they never call me back. What is their problem?
They're holding your tooth hostage.
So, yeah, I was like, okay. And remember, they told me 2 days, and when I called the first time, they're like,
No, sir. It's going to be 2 weeks or more. It does not take 2 days to get a PA.
And I'm like, that's what they told me. It's 2 days max, 3 days.
Well, see, but for your
whatever.
age, they gotta get the Dremel tool and get that piece of oak wood down, so they got it just right to put in there.
Yeah, all right, Mike the cat. Yeah, hello guys. So, and I was arguing with the lady at the front desk 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, saying, look, I'm telling you, this insurance that I have, I use it at the same place in Northern Kentucky. I use the same place in Louisville, Kentucky. I use the same place in Versailles, Kentucky, and Lexington, Kentucky. So I know how this insurance works. She's like, well, sir, you're in Northern Kentucky, and it doesn't work that way. We have over 500 PAs out, and you're going to have to wait your turn. And I'm like, 500 PAs out? So what are you trying to tell me?
PA pre-authorization?
Yeah. One person's working on the yes, ma'am, no. So anyways, make a long story short, 2.5 weeks later, which was Friday.
Yeah, you didn't come pour holy water on me.
Yeah, I'm at the store, and I'm like, I don't have a touch tone to play it. And I call up there, and I'm like, yeah, this is Grizzly. I'm calling to check on my status of IPA, and I want to get my tooth fixed. It's been like going on 3.5 weeks. And they're like, we're waiting for your tooth to come back. And I'm like, what do you mean you're waiting for my tooth to come back? Yeah, we're waiting for it to come back so we can put it in permanently.
Check it on the morgues to find an exact match.
And I'm like, you haven't done nothing. She goes, sir, I'm looking at your file. And I'm like, ma'am, I'm feeling my tongue is feeling my tooth that's missing half of it. You haven't done a darn thing. She said, would you hold, please?
Sir, I'm sorry. You're right. Can you come in at 8 o'clock in the morning?
No.
9 o'clock?
No.
No?
I'll be there. So I show up, and I got my little mini cart. Go ahead, Andy and Mike. Meet. So,
Is Andy
you know,
in here?
I don't know. I haven't seen them. But the doors swing the opposite way. So whatever moron put the door on, you know. No, it's not the VA hospital. Golly. Hi, Jan. How you doing? So I'll get in there, and they're like, who are you? I'm like, I'm Grizzly. And they're like, oh. They're like, have a seat. I'm like, okay. So I get over there, and it takes me a minute, you know, because I go over there, and I go to sit down. And they did this on purpose. As soon as I set my butt down, they're like, Grizzly. And I'm like, oh, are you serious?
Serving number 9.
Sean was at the VI. No. Hey, Andy, you're there. Meet. Hello, Andy. Yep, Sean. Okay. So they take me in the back. So then they start working on me. And I'm like, oh, this is great, man, you know. And they're working on me, and they give me shots and all this stuff. And they're in there drilling and all this other stuff. And
did they get the corkscrew out?
Yeah, and they're like,
oh, I hate
Okay, now we're going to go up front and we're going to check you out, and it should be about a week or less, and we'll have you all done.
And I'm like, yes, all right. So I'll go up front, and lady's like,
$600, please.
and I'm like, what?
$600, please.
I'm like, no, that's not how it works. And she goes, yeah, that's, they passed a law a couple of days ago, and that type of insurance you have does not cover that crown anymore. And I'm like, you got to be joking. And I'm like, liquid, yeah, that's what they put in my mouth, Sean. So, and I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, yeah, they passed a law a couple of days ago, so they don't cover it anymore. And now you owe $1,052.92. And half of it today, $600. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. And she goes, excuse me? And I'm like, ma'am, that's not how it works. And out of nowhere, she comes with this piece of paper and a pen. And she's, sir, you need to sign this right now. I'm like, signing what? This form. I'm like, what am I signing? Well, this form right here states that you're going to be responsible for anything the insurance doesn't cover. I'm like, oh, wrong answer. I'm like, I ain't signing that. She says, yes, you are. I'm like, no, I'm not. She said, yes, you are. I'm like, no, ma'am, I'm not. Man, these two ladies got hell bent. They looked like they were getting ready to throw the chairs at me. I'm on my walker with wheels.
Did you have your holy water? You should have thrown some on.
No, I wish I had my holy water, man. I probably would have locked up with the salt with holy water. I would have made the old.
That's what you're gonna get if you throw it on me. But go ahead.
Man, I tell you. So I called the insurance, and they're like, "Oh my God, Grizzly, are you serious? That really happened?" So guess what? They never submitted the PA. Somebody dropped the ball. It got submitted the day I called the insurance company. So I wonder if that employee got fired. So it's been a rough week.
It's been a very rough week.
Oh, my insurance company told me, if you, sir, they're like, Mr. Grizzly, please, when you go back, please be so kind and nice to them and be so gentle, you know, because if we have to do another PA.
I said the wrath of God is going to come down on them. They will pay for this.
But anyways, that's my life, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, that's what I went through. So we do have our guests backstage, and let's go ahead and bring them on. Welcome, kind sir. How you doing?
Hello there.
I was wondering if you saw me there. I thought
man,
you were
I
waiting for me
see
or something.
No, how you doing, kind sir? Let me change you around here.
I'm doing okay. How about you?
Button.
We're doing great.
Wonderful.
Great.
Introduce yourself to everybody who you are, because I know who you are. Can you hear me?
I'm Bart. Bart Sibrel,
Yeah.
Sibrel.com.
And what are you famous for?
Let's see. I think I'm famous for eating too much, putting my foot in my mouth constantly,
Yeah, Sal. Yeah.
making mistakes.
We must be related somehow then.
Yep.
Yes.
So tell us about all your mistakes and foots in your mouth and stuff like that. I'm dying to. I've been waiting for this night. You know, I've been like dying and itching to hear your stories and just the man, the myth, the legend, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you're here.
He doesn't even talk about me this way. So,
I mean, I just can't believe I'm looking at you and talking to you. I mean, where do you want to start? It's all about you.
I don't know. You just ask me any question you want to know.
Well, I'll let you introduce yourself because a lot of people that may not know you, where do you want to start? It's all about you, sir.
Well, I mean, I'm best known for producing a film. I'm a filmmaker. The film is called The Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, which was financed by an anonymous person who's a millionaire who builds rockets for NASA, who discovered that the moon missions were fake and wanted to, as his patriotic duty, finance a film that exposed that lie of NASA. So I was given about $1 million to make this movie, and you can see it for free at Sibrel.com. It's just my last name, S as in Sam, I, B as in boy, REL.com. Go to the top left button. I think it says Moonman Video Links. Moonman is a book I wrote, kind of the behind-the-scenes adventures that are not in the movie. And you can watch the movie for free, and you can see the unfortunate truth that they really did fake the moon missions. And we uncovered classified footage of fake photography of them faking being halfway to the moon with a 1-foot model and a third track of audio of the CIA telling them to fake a 4-second radio delay. So it's not a theory they didn't go. It's a fact. I mean, you can really prove it just with logic, because today, with 50 years better technology, they can only send an astronaut 1,000th the distance to the moon, or 250 miles into space to the space station. So why is it that they could send astronauts 1,000 times farther into space with 1960s technology on the first attempt? That seems kind of weird. And of course, that in and of itself proves, because it's impossible to have better technology in the past and in the future. I mean, after they blew up the atomic bomb in 1945, just 10 years later, atomic bombs were 1,000 times more powerful. And after Lindbergh flew across the Atlantic in 1927, years later, there were hundreds and thousands of aircraft flying across the Atlantic that were 100 times more complicated. So if they could go to the moon on the first attempt with 1 millionth the computing power of a cell phone, we would have been on Mars 10 years later. We'd be in another solar system by now, and there'd be bases all over the moon. The fact that they can only orbit the moon with mannequins 50 years later should tell you right there that they didn't go to the moon 50 years earlier with 1 millionth the computing power of a cell phone. So, I mean, it's sad and true that they did fake the moon landings, and that these people and their offspring apprentices, like-minded cronies, are still running the federal government. Otherwise, they would own up to it. Say, hey, those criminals before us faked the moon landing. We're going to set the record straight and clean house. But they're still defending it, which means they're part of the people, the organization that lies about such things. So keep in mind that every TV station, radio station, newspaper had men on the moon when in fact they were in Clovis, New Mexico. And so just because every newspaper and TV station says that there's a virus going around and a medicine that you should take for an illness you don't even have is perfectly fine, doesn't mean it's true. It's just a bunch of numbers. How many miles were they from the surface of the moon? Just a bunch of numbers on a computer screen that someone in Houston control said afterwards they could tell no difference between a simulation practice flight and a, quote, real flight. Looked the same to them, but just a bunch of numbers going by on a screen. So this is pretty sad that we have the greatest accomplishment of mankind being a complete fraud by the country that claims to be the light on the hill for the world and the savior of every country that's in trouble. You know what I mean? We're the ones committing the most crimes, killing our own presidents, faking moon landings, and many other dastardous things that shouldn't be done. And I'm just wondering: are we ever going to have honest government ever again? And probably not.
Agreed.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And, I went back and I know the footage you're talking about, and I've allegedly seen the pictures of
We all did, yeah.
the studio, right, where they allegedly did all this. And I agree with you, sir, totally. That how could they, with the technology they had, make it to the moon, number one. And number two, when they got onto the moon, who was filming them coming out of the lunar craft? I never did understand that. Could you explain that to me?
Well, allegedly they had a camera on the side of the lander that showed images of them allegedly coming down on the surface of the moon. The book that I just published, called Moon Man: The True Story of a Filmmaker on the CIA Hit List, describes in great detail the deathbed confession of Cyrus Eugene Akers, who was the chief of security at Cannon Air Force Base in 1968, where as he was dying said, first of all, that he was a murderer and he murdered somebody who wants to get right with God before he dies. And he said the reason why he killed this coworker at Cannon Air Force Base is because he and the coworker eyewitnessed the faking of the moon landing, and his friend thought it was morally wrong and he was going to tell a reporter about it. And so either President Johnson ordered him to kill this person, or he took it as his own initiative as the chief of security. But we do know he killed him. And then he went on to explain that the reason why he committed murder was to cover up the moon landing fraud. He also gave us a list of 15 people that President Johnson personally gave him. And these people only were allowed in to observe the faking of the moon landing, which was filmed in Clovis, New Mexico at Cannon Air Force Base, June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I published these names in my book, some of whom are still alive. So this is a pretty incredible testimony. And other things that I talk about in the book are the death of Apollo astronauts. And it's not my opinion that they were murdered by the CIA. It's their dead relatives' opinion. If Bobby Kennedy Jr. says his uncle, the President Kennedy, was killed by the CIA, you better believe it. And if the widow of the man who was going to be the first man to walk on the moon tells you that her husband was murdered by the CIA because he wouldn't participate in corruption, you better believe it. So not only are they deceiving us with their own tax money, they're using that very tax money to hire CIA agents to kill our fellow citizens who are going to expose their crimes. So they've become destructive of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, haven't they?
Yeah, and they sure have.
Yeah, so that's the state of our country. And the moon landing fraud is just the epitome example of the arrogance of our corrupt leaders.
I mean, isn't the government kind of concerned about you exposing all this? I mean, you look at all the allegations of people that was allegedly murdered underneath the Clintons, right? Compared to all the other presidencies out there that's, been through history. And you're actually name dropping people. I mean, you got documentations. I mean, you're writing books. You got documentaries. I mean, what do you think about that, though? I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, generally, the policy is to go after the people who leaked the information, not the people they gave it to. And so it's like when Seth Rich leaked that Bernie Sanders was getting more votes, but
I think you froze.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I thought I muted my own mic.
I don't know if you can still hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
They went after the people who gave me this information. The people who gave me this information less than 2 years ago were threatened with death if they ever spoke to me again about this information. So they didn't go after me, the recipient, the journalist, filmmaker, because I guess they consider I'm just, doing my job. It's not my fault. I got the information. They consider it the fault of the person who's leaking it. And that's the people that they threatened with death. They threatened the person who gave me the information less than 2 years ago, and they threatened Cyrus Eugene Akers at the time he eyewitnessed the faking of the moon landing, that they would kill him and his family if he ever told anybody. And that proved to be true because a coworker was about to tell the world and they killed him, right? They killed 3 Apollo astronauts that were going to be the first crew to walk on the moon because they wouldn't cooperate with the fraud. And it's not my opinion, it's the opinion of dead man's relatives. So this is very serious. The government is not only faking the moon landing, they're murdering people who are trying to expose it, and we're paying for it. We're paying for our own deception. We're paying for our own homicides.
Well, I mean, you make a really good, valid point. In your books, they're very interesting, and it sounds like they're fact-based, right? I would be concerned because it seems like, the whistleblowers give you the information, but you're out here just like, hey, everybody, trying to wake people up. And I never remember you trying to get him, Buzz, to put your hand on the Bible, swear that you were on the moon. What's the big deal? Put your hand on the Bible and say, yeah, I went to the moon. You right? Why?
Well, yeah, I mean, if I walked on the moon and someone thought otherwise, I would find that pretty funny. Really? You think it was done at a TV studio? Oh, okay.
Oh, he froze up again.
Do you want me to swear in the Bible? Sure. He went up to him in front of his wife and said, oh, your mistress says hello. You see, he got mad because it's the truth. And I'm exposing it in front of the media. So that's just a sad fact. The book at Sibrel.com, which I read in audio and is also in Kindle and print, is called Moon Man, The Truth, because I uncovered a secret recording of an Apollo astronaut and his son plotting my assassination, because I discovered footage of fake photography from the first moon mission. So if they really went to the moon and I'm some silly person who thinks it was done at a TV studio, why would the CIA care? Why would they care, right? But an Apollo astronaut and his son are heard on a private recording, crystal clear, discussing whether to call the CIA to have me murdered, because I have proof that they didn't go to the moon. So that's the way that it is. And it's pretty sad. We have 3,000 architects and engineers who say that it's impossible for a pinhole airplane to bring down a skyscraper. I mean, all you have to do is look at Oklahoma City bombing, where half the building was blown away and the thing still stood. So a pinhole airplane going in and out isn't going to cause its collapse. 3,000 architects and engineers signed a petition saying so. 20 years later, not a thing's done about it. It obviously means it was done by corrupt Americans, and only people in the federal government would be able to pull off such a cover-up, which means 3,000 people were murdered by the federal government. You know what I mean? That's what it means. And because they control the media, they control Congress, nothing is done about it. William Benny worked for the NSA for 30 years. He says, oh, by the way, we spy on the private cell phone conversations of Supreme Court justices so that we can get sexual and financial dirt on them to blackmail them to vote the way that we tell them. It's an established fact, set on national TV. No one disputes it, but there's not a single congressional investigation into Supreme Court justices being blackmailed. I mean, a guy leaks that the Democratic Party is rigging the election for Clinton, and the FBI investigates not the rigging, but the person who leaked the rigging. They literally sick the FBI after the person. It just boggles the mind. So this is super corrupt government. You have corrupt presidents appointing the heads with corrupt people of every department. So the rank and file of the CIA and the FBI and the FDA may be honest people, but if the one at the top is corrupt, they're going to say, investigate this, and you're fired. So there you go. That's why one of the reasons I wrote the last chapter, what to do about this mess, how to have new rules for government. One of the rules is the president cannot appoint the heads of the departments in the government. Let the rank and file FBI elect their own person. They know who's honest. They know who's qualified to run the FBI. It's not somebody who's never done it before, who's a friend of the president, who's as corrupt as they are, who they appoint to pop in for 4 years, telling honest FBI managers that they cannot investigate this crime because if they do, they'll fire them. That's the way it works.
Or goes further than that.
Well, they start with that. and work their way up,
But speaking about this topic, what really has got me perturbed is not only the topics that you have brought up, is look who's in office right now, okay? And it fires me up to see somebody that cannot carry a speech, cannot carry on a conversation, doesn't know where to go on or off a stage, and he's the president of the United States of America. Do we not have a problem here? Or is it just me that's got the issue?
Well, I don't take sides. I believe that the Bible is true, and it says that a soldier of God does not get involved in civilian affairs. It also says to pray for all world leaders and all leaders in your country, whether I don't vote. And so I do find it odd that the person you're referring to, when they did their acceptance speech, the other candidate did it in front of hundreds of people outside walking up a flight of steps. They do it in a room of only 4 people, and they walk from the back wall to a podium, and then there's an edit, which makes me wonder if the speech
You're the only one that saw that.
Wasn't a deep fake. And then for that same person to not hold a press conference for the longest time in U.S. history after being sworn in, 90 days or 120 days or something, makes me wonder, is the person healthy? You have to wonder about the health of the person. Now, I prayed for everybody. I pray for Biden's well-being and his health and his good decisions and his righteous decisions, right?
Right.
And I'm concerned when a person who has questionable health doesn't do a press conference for 4 months after they're sworn in. The longest time in U.S. history. That seems odd to me. I would be suspicious if that happened to Trump. I would be suspicious if that happened to Biden. So it's nothing personal against them. I wish them all the best. The Bible says that our enemies are not flesh and blood. They're the spiritual forces controlling people. I mean, I'm a Christian.
That is correct.
I do my best to do what's right, but, get me mad and look out. So okay.
I want to clear the air right now, ladies and gentlemen.
I can be temporarily possessed, you could say, with ungodly spirits.
Okay.
So
I agree with you, but I want to clear the air. Okay, I'm not against a party. I'm against the person that seems not to be stable. That is my direction that I was trying to put out there. So I don't want any misconception that I'm picking on Biden because he's Biden, because he's a Democrat. I'm just saying, like he just stated, his mental well-being. I mean, he seems so confused all the time. And when he talks, he rambles. It doesn't make any sense.
I'm confused than Bush Jr.
Right.
I mean, anyway.
They all have their skeletons in their closet, it seems. And, I'm reading a book about U.S. presidents now, and the opening chapter of the book, this author talks about how people would have to be absolutely insane to want that job because of the stress
the people who are president don't have that job. You see, that's a front, just like a business. There used to be a fried chicken place in Nashville, Tennessee, Columbo's. I used to love the TV show Columbo. And I kept driving past this place late at night, Columbo's Hot Chicken. And I finally went in there. They're open 24 hours. Went in there like 4 a.m, nobody there, only 4 tables anyway. And back then, it's like 35 years ago, 40 years ago, one piece of chicken was like $5. Whoa. And then there's a lady sitting behind the counter with like a 20-line telephone, taking call after call after call and writing things down. Well, it was a front for something, right? For gambling or whatever. And maybe the president is a front because the people who really run the world don't want to be up front. They want someone else to take the heat. They want someone else to take the risk of being knocked off just for being the leader. So the real people who run the world control the president. They're not the president. They're the secret president. I mean, I've seen George Bush Jr.'s desk and I've seen Cheney's desk, and they look completely different. George Bush Jr.'s desk, when he was president, when I was in Washington, D.C., it had like I don't know, a picture of his wife and his family, a telephone, a pencil set, and that was it. And then Cheney's office, which I, kind of saw through the door, it was like stacks of papers everywhere. I think I saw what appeared to be a safe, not a walk-in safe, but something really big. I mean, you would swear these piles were going to fall over if a fly landed on them, and multiple stacks like that. So who was really running the country? You could say the same with Reagan and Bush Sr. I mean, who was really running the country there? And so I don't know what's going on, but I think they could theoretically have a deep fake president. If there's a potentiality that the acceptance speech for the Democratic Party of Biden was a deep fake, which there is. I sent that tape. I'm a filmmaker, and it seemed odd to me that the other guy was, accepting the nomination in front of everybody walking up steps, and the other guy, whose health had been questioned, was in a room with only 4 people, no outsiders. And as soon as he walked from a wall to the podium about 5 feet, there was an unnecessary edit, which seemed odd to me as a filmmaker. An edit for no reason like that is to cover up something. I showed the video to a deep fake specialist. So for all we know, Biden died before the election. For all we know. I saw another video of Biden. It looked good to me at first. It looks like he's outside, holding an impromptu press conference, microphones, reporters, and I'm sure you've seen it. His hand goes through the microphone. I mean, it was special effects, and it's like, so they're faking a press conference.
Hey,
what's going? For all we know, the Biden could have died before the election. We don't know. And there have been pictures of him that appeared. It had a double with the face mask. I know it sounds odd, but they already faked the moon landing. They already faked the greatest event in human history. What is it? I mean, we know world leaders have doubles from all countries, right? Mm-hmm. So who knows what's going on? I think it's beyond help. I think the 2 eclipses that we had and are about to have, which are 7 years apart, a biblical number, represent a probationary period for the United States to stop being corrupt. The first eclipse in 2017 fell over the largest pagan statue in America. In Nashville, Tennessee, the goddess Athena. Athena is mentioned in the New Testament, that the pagans are worshiping the goddess Athena instead of the real God. And then next year, the eclipse falls over Dallas, Texas, the point of no return, in my opinion, for when the bureaucracy of corruption became unstoppable. It must have been unstoppable before then, because Eisenhower said, not when he was president for 8 years, okay, his last day, afraid to say it while he was president for 8 years, corrupt people in the government are taking over. And I'm so afraid to tell you, I can only tell you my last minute in office, goodbye.
I'm out.
So there has to be, it probably was beyond help then, but especially when they kill their own president. Now that's election interference, isn't it? Because Bobby Kennedy Jr. has more access to the Kennedy assassination files than Oliver Stone. And if he says his uncle, President Kennedy, was murdered by the CIA, which is my own independent conclusion, then you better believe it's true. So what's going on here? So I don't think it's a coincidence that the 7-year later eclipse goes from the pagan statue to the point of no return when they killed their own leader who wants to end corruption. And after that second eclipse, I highly recommend before then, because I don't think America is going to repent. According to the Bible, the plagues come to encourage people to change their ways, and it goes on to say, and people don't do it. So God's given America the opportunity to have honest government, but it looks like that's not going to happen. So my recommendation for you, my friends, and anyone watching is to flee the Titanic while there are still lifeboats available. Because at some point, according to Bill Gates himself, he said this, the next pandemic is going to get people's attention. And then he smirks. most pandemics happen every once 100 years, but apparently he knows of one that's going to happen in his lifetime again. And whenever that happens, you're going to be stuck where you are until the second coming of the Messiah. So choose wisely where you stay. Now is the time to relocate, to get your fort together, because I fear after that second eclipse, which I think is April 8th, 2024, bad things are going to start to happen.
Wow. That's deep. Well, I had a million questions for you, and now I'm just enjoying hearing you talk, because a lot of people will say these things, but they have no, I don't know what the right word is. I don't want to say idea about what they're talking about, but you've investigated this your whole life. I mean, well, that was one of my questions I did have. What clued you off? Because I remember reading somewhere it started as a child, you were enamored with the moon landing, and then somewhere along the line you started picking up on that it was. What was the first thing that made you think about this isn't real?
Well, I thought it was real. I mean, I was asleep in bed at the time as a 4-year-old, but my father was in the Air Force. And keep in mind, the faking of the moon landing was shot in an Air Force base, just like Bill Casey said. It was supervised by the United States Air Force. My father was an officer in the Air Force. He handled nuclear weapons on bombers. Okay, that was his job, to kill the enemy and go home and have a nice fried chicken dinner, right? And he got a VIP package of pictures of the great moon landing. He gave them to me, and it was my most treasured possession. And I put them up on my wall as a 4-year-old, and it was pretty much a shrine. You know how certain, buildings or whatever, they have like a little shrine with the Virgin Mary or whatever.
Yeah.
Candles and everything. That's pretty much what it was. And so from the age of 4 to 14, which has seen these pictures 3,650 times, thinking they're real, I see a gentleman by the name of William Casey, who worked for NASA during the Apollo program for 6 years with super high security clearance. He read a memo from von Braun to the Pentagon that said the odds of going to the moon successfully without killing the crew with 1960s technology is a 1 in 10,000 chance. You basically are going to kill them if you try. He said they bluffed, like you have crap in poker, and you bluff and you can still win. And that's what they did. And I'm like, oh, never thought about that. I'm an open-minded 14-year-old. So I go back to my shrine after the TV show, and I start looking at the pictures. And I'm like, you do kind of notice where the soil ends and kind of the fake backdrop begins. It's like my eyes were wide shut. I never noticed that before until I looked critically. Fast forward another 10 years, at 24, I'm a filmmaker whose job is to make fake things look real with lighting, right? And I'm producing a film or editing a film for the guy who produced the show I'd seen 10 years earlier with the guy who said we didn't go to the moon. He puts me in touch with him, who suggests that I make a movie about the moon landings being fake, which, after investigating, I turned down because it began to look like it could very well have been faked. And if that's the case, and I start digging up these bones, it could be dangerous. So I decided I'm not going to risk my life for what Nixon did. Turned down the project. I had another client who said they'd get one of my screenplays to a famous producer if I did them a favor. I'm like, oh, okay, what favor? Well, they were a famous Christian musician. They said, read the Bible. So I got a 1-year Bible that divided the Bible into 365 15-minute calendar reads. And I remember I started reading the Bible June 3rd, 1989, the day the man stood in front of the tanks in China saying enough is enough. And over the next 5 years, believe it or not, I read the Bible from cover to cover 5 times. I wasn't a Christian at that moment, but it did develop in me an understanding that there is a God. Things don't make themselves. A lower form of life without a brain can't make a higher form of life with a brain. Now, can it? And a flower and a bee, which need each other to survive, can't evolve knowing that the other exists, can they? Right?
Simple biology.
So I also realized this is what really struck me. And this is what I think is really important to understand. If they faked going to the moon, which in fact they did, that's actually more profound of an event historically than if they had actually gone. Do you realize that? Either they planted a flag on a rock and came back and didn't kill themselves, or they lied about it, they murdered people, they embezzled billions of dollars, they killed people to cover it up, they put it on stamps and coins in the encyclopedia, held ticker tape parades, and give them medals of honor for lying. If that happened, that's more profound historically than if they had actually gone. And now we know they did fake it. So we have this great, profound truth that mankind is so fallen, so depraved, that our leaders of the greatest country on earth are so criminal and ignorant and juvenile that they fake the greatest accomplishment of mankind instead of admitting that they bit off more than they could chew. That is a fact. And this fact that is necessary to grow, right? If you're playing your violin out of tune, somebody's going to have to correct you, or you're going to play out of tune forever. And if the United States continues down this path of faking moon landings, doing 9/11, killing their own president, faking the beginning of the Vietnam War, and doing other little things for the last 3 years, you see, we have to know that the moon missions were fake in order to move forward as a species. If we don't admit that, if we don't discover that, if that is not acknowledged, then there's really no hope for mankind without divine intervention. And I kind of debate with this great guy as a great newsletter about how mankind can rise up and overcome the evil in the world, and he's right, they could. It's within our power. It's within our capability. I just think it's not going to happen. People are spending 2.5 work weeks a month watching television, and the rest of the time with their face in their phone. And I don't see how we're going to have time to make the world a better place. And so while he's right, it could happen, I don't think it's going to happen. Jesus said it will get so bad at the end in the last days that unless there's divine intervention, no one will be saved. I take that to mean the evil people are going to win. What was the first message preached in Acts 2? Save yourself from this corrupt generation. Repent, get baptized, stay repentant. You have to stay faithful to the end, and you'll make it into eternal life. And then if you want to, relocate to a safer place or buy beans and rice and a shotgun and get ready. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because the end of all things is near, and it's going to get pretty messy before it happens.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And it's amazing that you're hitting the topics that people do not want to talk about, or, say that, no, he's wrong. And they're so brainwashed because they believe what they see on TV. It's real. And we try to tell them it's not real. They are telling you what they want you to know, what they want you to believe. And speaking of what you want to believe, what do you think about those so-called Chinese spy balloons?
Well, I can't believe the alternative media is just repeating what the mainstream media is telling. I mean, come on, people. I started a podcast just 1 month ago. If you go to Sibrel.com and scroll down beneath the picture of the book, you can subscribe to my podcast. It's called Bart Sibrel's Box Escape. The problem is the alternative media can be misled too. Basically, 3 out of 4 Americans know that Oswald didn't kill Kennedy. Half of Americans don't believe the official story of 9/11. And 1 out of 4, 25%, know the craziest of all truths, which is that the moon landings are fake. So at least 1 out of 4 Americans aren't brainwashed. They don't follow the mainstream media. Therefore, the CIA has to have 2 lies. They have to have one for the 3/4 who are believing what's on the evening news, and then they have to have another lie for the alternative media to lead them astray as well. For example, the UFO community, and I think that's a big lie too, because Edgar Mitchell spent his whole life saying the moon missions are real when they were not, and that aliens are real. I think they're about as real as the moon landing. And so the UFO community sees clearly that these pictures were taken in a television studio. They're electrical lighting. They can figure that out. But they still think somehow we went to the moon because we're communing with aliens. I mean, NASA doesn't care why you believe the moon landings are real as long as you do. Either Neil Armstrong did it or secret Q's communing with aliens. Same thing with this thing that's been going on for the last 3 years. They don't care if you believe it came from an animal or it came from a scientific facility, as long as you believe it's real. They wouldn't have to fake the illness tests, and they wouldn't have to fake the causes of fatalities if it were real. Both are lies. And so we have to understand. I mean, I follow really good alternative media people, and they're like repeating what the government wants them to repeat. China's a threat. Russia's a threat. We need to spend more money on the military. Well, we spend $1 trillion and 9/11 still happened. It's useless, isn't it? More money is not going to help, right? We had the best nuclear weapons, the best radar, the best everything, and 9/11 still happened. So more money isn't going to help, is it? And so they're repeating the China phobia, the Russia phobia, which is exactly what the military-industrial complex wants them to do. I just don't understand why they can't figure that out. So Bart Sibrel's Box Escape, a weekly podcast at Sibrel.com, is making sure that the alternative media people aren't deceived either, because they can leak out a UFO footage or leak out a UFO confession. Well, come on. This is standard spy operation procedure, to leak information to give it street cred. So we have to be careful. They are very concerned with what the alternative media believes, and I would say at least equally concerned to the public. Because even though we're only 1 out of 4, we're 4 times as vocal and influential. You see? Yeah. So they've got to be spending at least equal amount of time on the mainstream media deception as the alternative media deception. You see? And anybody can be deceived, including alternative media people, right?
No, you're absolutely correct.
True. I remember watching a video right after the president was inaugurated, and they were in supposedly the White House press room, and all of a sudden the press room started shaking, and there was a jet plane overhead. I grew up in Washington, D.C. That's a no-fly zone. There's like a 35, well, I don't know if it's 35, but there's a certain mile thing. But if a jet was to fly low enough over the White House that it would interrupt a press conference, it would definitely be in the no-fly zone. And it hit me right then and there. They're not in the White House press briefing room. They're somewhere else.
Yeah, I saw something years earlier. I forget whether it was Obama or Bush Jr., but one of the two. They were allegedly in the White House, with the curtain and the flags behind them, and I thought it was CG. But I don't think that's in and of itself wrong if they're for security reasons trying to protect the president. However, for a prolonged basis for other reasons is probably corrupt. Yeah.
Well, I guess my point was, all those people sitting in the media room there, from every network and, every other little newspaper or whatever, they were in on it. I mean, they obviously knew.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
If they can deep fake one person behind the podium, then they could deep fake every person in the audience, then couldn't they? You see, they have the best computers.
I never thought of that.
Right? And in order to enter the press room and be in that, best of the best group, you're probably already an Illuminati player already. And you probably already signed a non-disclosure agreement already. You see? So they're probably cooperating. You see?
Gotcha. I hadn't thought of that. Okay.
I am not going to lunch with him. Nope. Nope.
Do you have your own meal taster?
No, yeah. That's you're making me think of a lot of things I never even thought about now.
Yeah,
that's what my new podcast is meant to do. We have to think beyond the bluff and beyond the double bluff. I once played poker with this guy who was so much more advanced than me. It blew my mind. And he like bluffed in a way that I would know it was a bluff, but that's what exactly he knew I would think, you know? And then he went
Right.
past me one more time. It's like blew my mind. And I'm like, wow, my mind is blown. And so the CIA is super experienced on doing the bluff and the double bluff and fooling the alternative media, fooling the KGB. You know what I mean? They can fool the KGB. So I think they can fool alternative media people, no offense, working out of their homes, right?
Yeah.
True,
Yeah.
true.
That is true.
One of
Yeah,
the
so we have to be careful. We have to really think carefully.
So
One
how
of
do
the-
we combat this? How do we repel this and find the truth?
Well, I guess pray is the first thing because the Holy Spirit is called the Spirit of Truth. And
Yes,
so
you're right.
if we're reading our Bible every day and if we're repenting of our sin every day, it says, I think in Isaiah, what is it, 52 or 58? It's somewhere in Isaiah. The arm of the Lord is not too short to save, or his ear too dull to hear, but your sin has separated you from your God. So if we keep repenting, that wall comes down, the Spirit of truth is with us, and we have greater discernment. So we have to pray, we have to stay in a righteous, repentant state, and then God will give us discernment. I mean, he doesn't want us to be deceived, but if we love the world more than we love him, we will be deceived. So we have to constantly check ourselves, read our Bible in the morning, and pray and repent, and then hopefully we won't be deceived, and he will enable us to have discernment.
Well, you know, one thing that people fail to realize, God was so angry with men that he was upset that he created men. And
That's the saddest scripture in the whole Bible.
Yes.
Genesis 6.
Yes, it is. And a lot of people don't like me reciting that.
No, it's
And
beautifully sad scripture.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, and I said this and I'll say it again, it can and it will be repeated if we're not careful.
Well, it will be, according.
And once
So
again,
will be the return of the Son of Man. So what happened in the times of Noah? I think it reminds us in 1st or 2nd Peter, only 8 people were saved out of the whole world. 8.
Yes.
And when it says that Jesus was sent to Israel, not to the pagans. So when he said, wide is the road to destruction, most go that way, and narrow is the way to life, and only a few find it. He's not talking to pagans, he's talking to believers. And when he says, because of the love of the world, increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold, he's talking about the love of most believers will not be faithful to the end, but he who holds to the very end will be saved. So this is going to happen again. We don't know how narrow. It was very narrow. 8 people were saved the first time. Hopefully it'll be more than 8 people, but it'll likely be a minority and could be 10% or so. I don't know. We just don't know.
No, you're absolutely right. And I got into the spiritual side, and like I told Sportcat last year, especially what you're talking about is to help the paranormal field out, because if you believe in good, you believe in evil. You believe in the yin, you have to believe in yang. And because a lot of people do not want to discuss the bad things or the negativity side of things. They just don't want to do it. But you have to sometimes to explore the light, right? So the light is cast into what part? The shadows. The shadow does not come into the light, right? The light goes into the shadows. So go ahead.
Well, I was thinking of, everyone likes to read John 3:16, but they seldom read what's immediately after that. This is the verdict. Light has come into the world, but men love darkness instead of light, for fear their deeds will be exposed.
That's correct.
That's why they will not tell the truth about the moon landing fraud, for fear their deeds will be exposed. You see? I went to a seminar once, and it was kind of new agey, but half of it was pretty profound and true. And one of the things they said was, never do anything that you can't tell the truth about.
Thank you.
Pretty good little standard, isn't it? By
Yes.
lying about something, it's actually an admission to the person lying that what they're doing is wrong. They're acknowledging it to themselves and to the world that what they're doing is wrong. Otherwise, they simply tell the truth about it. I'm really not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just looking for the truth in a world of deception. I first heard about chemtrails 10 years ago. I rolled my eyes. Don't give me a break. Here's another one. Then I started getting up an hour before sunrise for several months, went outside, and just at the end of darkness, to cover it up, there's a big grid in the sky. You keep an eye on the grid, it widens out and completely covers the sky with clouds. Oh, I guess that's true. So if that's good for us, if that's helping us with climate change or helping us, prevent weather storms or disaster or helping give rain to crops, then they would tell us, hey, everybody, look what we're doing. That's good for you. We're putting these chemicals in the morning every day at sunrise because it's good for you and good for the planet. And here's how we're doing it. And here's what's in the spray. And here's our schedule. And here's how much it costs. But they keep it all a secret because there's something about it that's not good, not right, not good for us. Otherwise, they would tell the truth, right? The fact that they're not telling us about it is proof that there's something wrong about it.
Well, let me ask you this then, because this has been very interesting. Have you seen the videos where people go outside and pick up a wad of snow and bring it inside and take a lighter to it and it does not melt?
I've seen things like that, and that has to be the result of weather modification. I mean, I mentioned before my dad was in the Air Force. I asked him once what he was doing in this secretive place during this kind of unusual time in world
This
history.
unusual time was what year frame?
This was, I think, in like 1975. He was in Chile.
Okay, that makes sense.
And when the government was being overthrown by the CIA.
Right.
And I asked him what he was doing. And he said, I was studying the weather. And I thought, yeah, what a jerk-off answer that is. Just studying the weather. Yeah. But decades later, I'm thinking, maybe he was studying the weather. Maybe it was weather modification. Maybe that was his way of saying as much as he could say that was truthful. I watched an interview with George Bush Sr. once, I don't know, 5 or 10 years after he was president. And I'm looking at him, waiting for him to lie. Where can I catch him in on a lie? I don't think he lied the entire time. Fascinating. It's as if they know not to lie on the record. Remember, Bush and Jr. and Cheney would testify about 9/11 as long as it wasn't under oath. I mean,
yes, that is correct.
Yes.
That is correct.
I mean, come on, can't you tell they're guilty? And so it's like they don't want to be caught in a lie, like Clinton was caught in a lie. So they speak in such a way that is technically accurate and correct. You see, I was so fascinated. I mean, here's a guy who used to run the CIA. For all we know, tried to kill Reagan and was part of killing Kennedy, for all we know, and could very well likely have been. I don't know. Forgive me if I'm accusing him wrongly. And yet, when he was asked all these questions about all these topics, he didn't appear to lie a single time. And I was like, wow, that is fascinating. They must have like a rule. You tell the truth on the record if you can. You semantically
Give him a second. He should be back.
make sure you. So, and he was a crew of a B-52, which I don't know what the payload is. It's something extraordinary, like 10 tons or something ridiculous. And so maybe they could adapt that. If they can adapt that for bombs, they could adapt that for canisters of weather modification chemicals. I mean, 10 tons of weather modification chemicals is enough to make something happen, I'm sure.
I think so.
Yeah,
yes.
right. Yeah, and one of the things that's very interesting, and I was in law enforcement for a few number of years, and the ATF, the FBI, Homeland Security classes, right, that we had to take for interrogation and interviewing. It's amazing the non-government classes, since you said that, we had to take that were required we always did them on presidents. And we had to watch them with the volume off. And we had a pen and paper, and they would say, write down every time you think that president was lying. And we had to sit there and go through there, because we were taught how to read body language.
Yeah, I bet it's easier to tell whether they're lying with the volume off.
It is. It really is.
Yeah,
that is.
And
correct.
I don't know about you, but for me, I know the Bible said the eyes are the key to the soul, and I know that's true. I just don't understand it. For me, when I look for a lie, I look for the mouth. I remember Obama being asked a really simple question, like, where are you going to watch the Super Bowl in 1 week? And he said, well, we haven't decided yet. And then he smirks. Of course they've decided. They decided 6 months to 8 months ago. I mean, why didn't he just say, well, I'm not going to tell you for security reasons? But he lied, and he smirks because he's proud of himself that he gets to lie. And it's like when Bill Gates says, the next one's going to get your attention, smirk, because he knows something, you see. And so I look at the mouth. It's like a liar can look you dead in the eye and tell you a lie, and then they're proud of themselves, and they smirk.
Yeah.
So
have you ever talked to somebody during an interview or spoke to somebody and you asked them a question and they do this? Yes.
I think I've noticed that in playback. I don't know that I've noticed that live, but it is kind of odd.
Or do this? No.
I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah.
So,
Pat
because
your head
the
and rub your
human
stomach at the
body,
same time.
right, does not want to lie. The human body wants to tell the truth.
Well, someone did body language analyzing of my interview with Buzz Aldrin, and they were all over the place, not only about body language, but what he said semantically and how he said it, but really also what he said. By saying words this way is a lie, and then the body language is a lie, and so forth and so on. So, I mean, what can you do? These people did lie about 9/11, what's been going on for 3 years, who shot JFK, the moon landing, and probably what's going to go on next week. What can you do? Except pray for divine intervention, pray to not get sucked into it, pray to be faithful to God, and pray to safely ride out the end times. That's about all we can do.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And I don't know about you, Sportcat, but, when he talks about, I love handwriting analysis. I've used that a lot against people. Talking on a regular conversation like this. I don't have to be in person. I can tell when you're telling me the truth or not. Just by your texture of your tone, and how you speak your words, and how you state your words. And it's real simple once you learn how to do it and practice it. And now you got poker players that are getting Botox shots, so they don't have to wear sunglasses so they can sit there.
Well, I don't understand why they're allowed to wear sunglasses. I think that should be against the rules. It just shows that they're a weak poker player.
That is
You know
correct.
what I mean? That's like saying you get to have a bionic leg when you're running the Olympics. I mean, no.
But
No,
why are
that's the
they
whole
allowed to
point.
Botox?
That's part of the skill is your face. And so I don't understand. I think sunglasses should be illegal during a poker tournament. I mean, come on,
Well,
are we children? Are you that
I don't
weak
think
of
the
a
shots
poker
should
player?
be allowed, in my opinion. I mean,
What's that?
why? I said they're taking Botox shots so they don't have any micro expressions when they look at their cards. So why are they allowing them to play with these millions of dollars? And when the other
That would be
people, they
like
don't do it.
getting steroids before the Olympics, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
people, I guess, just don't know. I don't know. They haven't thought through what is fair. Same thing with the government. It doesn't work for a president to appoint the heads of the department every 4 years. That promotes corruption rather than ends it. You see, I don't know why they haven't figured that out. Or what about a politician who promises they're going to do something when they're elected and they don't do it? What about a rule that says, okay, you're immediately kicked out of office and then you go to jail for 10 years? Okay, that's the rule. We can't allow lying and promise breaking from our leaders. It has to be illegal. They have to be kicked out of office and they have to go to jail for doing it. That needs to be a law. That needs to be a rule for fairness, right? And it's not, because the people who are running the show are running the rules to favor their corruption. They're writing laws to make crimes legal in their minds. So anyway, what can you do? I would just say, if you want to know more, go to Sibrel.com, and you can see my films for free. Get a copy of the book on audio, Kindle, or print. And if you want to subscribe to my new podcast, there's a link just beneath the book to do that.
Well, thank you so much, sir. It was an honor for you to have you on our show. We greatly appreciate it. Take care, sir, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Have a good night.
Oh, sure. Be blessed. Keep up the good work.
Thank you,
sir.
Bye-bye.
I appreciate your time. That was awesome.
All right,
Sure.
bye-bye. Wow.
Okay, I gotta just throw this out there real quick. Usually I'm not that quiet, you know that? But I was kind of dumbfounded. I mean, he hits on so many things that...
Is it because the word of God was spoken to you tonight?
I should have known you'd go there. No.
I'm just asking.
Well, I mean, see, we're going to talk about that. Okay, well, first off, no one actually really knows what my true beliefs are. So...
That wasn't the question.
No, no. Just to get off on a little sidetrack there, no one actually knows what my true beliefs are.
I asked you a direct question. Did I not, Mike or Andy, ask him, was it the word of God?
I don't think that it was the word of God. I'm not denying it could have been, but I don't think it was the word of God. But, once again, a lot of people intentionally for me don't know what I believe because it's none of their business. I mean,
Mike's already laughing at you. Mike knows. See, I know when somebody's not telling me the truth, Mike.
Oh, well.
And I'm not even looking at him because I don't have to look at him, Mike. And Mike's like, correct. So, and there he goes, getting something to drink. That's another sign right there, ladies and gentlemen.
It's my moonshine jug.
So. That is a sign of being nervous. And when your mouth
be a sign of being thirsty.
Brenda, you're getting ready to get it live, girl. He's back. You're back.
It can't be.
That was just a question. I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything.
No. And no, I don't think you did. And it could have been. I mean, the thought did go through my mind, honestly. But what I was to get back to my train track, I was so dumbfounded because he speaks such simple things, and they sound simple, but it's common sense, and I don't understand why more people aren't. I don't understand. If he spoke for 2 hours, I could listen to it because, to me, a lot of what he's saying is just common sense. Now, I would like to know, because I'm one of these inquisitive, curious people, who is really in charge?
Well, I can tell you this right now. When I brought up the snow, he knows more than what he was leading on to. Did you see his facial expression?
Yeah.
And his head tilt? If you want to learn more, come see me at www.com. Yeah, baby. We got that. I know what you're saying. So Mike's like, invite me. Well, send the link if you want Mike on. Mike's over there probably swinging from a deck. Oh, he's got a few questions.
Who's that, me? Who has questions?
Mike.
Oh, well,
your buddy Mike.
I can't send anything because this screen is the iPad. I can't see comments unless you put them up.
Well, I am. I got his comments up. Send him the link.
Well, no, I can't. If I take anything off of this screen, I don't know that it'll come back.
Brenda. So I don't have my Pro Plus back here. I'm in the dark. Brenda, are you on here?
Why are you in the dark?
Yeah, and it is send it. Okay.
And
hold
by
on,
the way,
Brenda's here, so I want to send it to Brenda. Hold on, Brenda. I got, see, I'm down to 2 phones now, not 4. So I got the wrong 2 phones with me. Is what I'm trying to say.
I don't even have your right phone numbers. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I do.
Start that. Yes, you do.
I guess I do. You got you got my text. So, but no, I mean, literally, to me, a lot of it is common sense, and I don't understand why more people aren't seeing it. I mean, it just escapes me. Like I said, I could sit and listen to him for hours just because of that. And I don't normally like to sit and kind of be a bump on a log, but I mean, I'm like fanboy tonight because I feel like, why are people not listening? Why are people not? I don't even know the right word. Opening their eyes.
Done, Brenda.
Paying attention.
It's in your inbox.
You know, why are they not paying attention? Why are they not? You know what I'm saying?
Send it to Andy too. Andy's in here too, I think.
So, I mean, I don't get it. It just doesn't make a bit of sense to me. Why people?
I want to know about the snow. Have you all seen that? Hey, ladies and gentlemen out there, have you all seen that on that?
Yeah, I have. There was a doctor I worked with in Georgia, and you know, we don't get snow very often in Georgia, and he would go out and get like a sample of every snowfall that we had. And as a doctor, he would send it, he would like put it under a microscope and send it for labs and all kinds of stuff. And he taught me all kinds of cool things about that. So
there you go. He's turning it off.
That's the Punisher there.
Oh, you still got his plane in the background.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you gotta turn it off. I don't want to hear it.
There we go. There we go.
That's the Punisher.
But so you've seen it too in the snow, right? What they've been doing on Facebook and TikTok, Brenda.
Yep.
They're going out in the snow and taking a lighter to it, and it does not melt, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey.
It smells like burnt nylon.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. There are so many things that have happened in our lifetime, in our parents' lifetime, and their parents' lifetime that has been nothing but a humongous, big lie. Big lie. We are lied to about weather. We are lied to about politicians. We are lied to in our media. We are lied to in most podcasts. We are lied to for everything. These people, Glenn, that can't see the obvious, it's called brainwashing. They've been doing it to us since we were born, since our parents were born. It's in the TVs. It's in what they teach us, our schools. It's in everything.
Yeah. No, I don't argue with it.
It's off the bottle
it's
of
hypnosis.
syrup.
And
it's
I'll
hypnosis
probably, and I will probably get another text message for this. So,
well,
I'm not worried about Aunt Jemima. You know, and if y'all don't know what I'm saying about Aunt Jemima's family, because of people were offended because somebody was on a bottle of syrup is no longer getting proceeds from their family ancestor.
And you know, that woman was so proud of that. Her family was proud of that. That was her legacy. And because our cancel culture, because our cancel culture was so offended, there went her legacy.
And her generations, and generations to come.
Yeah, the same thing happened with what was it, Charlie's Chips? Or there was he started out in a truck delivering chocolate chip cookies in tin cans.
She just fired up a joint. I was like, oh my god. Oh my god.
No, sir.
Yeah, we're smoking dope on the show now. We're really taking it off to the. Oh my Lord.
Don't do it. Sorry.
No, please, God. For anybody out there, please,
that's a big joint. Let me tell you,
a joint. For Christ's sake, I'm tired of people coming at me for stupid. So,
I'm sorry, ladies. And hold on.
Let me just get something else out of the way here real quick, since we're talking about people throwing things out there. Last week on this show, well, we were all having a good time.
Where you at, Mike? You're rolling. You're rolling.
We started a joke, which is a joke that's been carried on, but apparently it's no longer funny, and now people are trying to cancel me. So there is no truth to the Stormy Daniels. There is no truth to the Monica Lewinsky. There is no truth to any of that. So people can stop messaging me, okay? It was a damn joke. Lighten up, people. So
come on, Mike. Come on, Andy.
Wait. What was it that Norma said? That Monica Lewinsky has done very well for herself now.
I'm not touching it because I got Twitter.
Where do y'all see that at? I don't even see that.
Oh,
I got it on at Twitter. So
that was something that Norma had said last show when we were talking about.
Oh, I thought you meant right now. I'm going through the comments.
I can't see comments.
I don't see it.
I can't see comments, so I'm out. But no, and so I want, and so it's really
Mike,
caused
Brenda
my
did not get a link. Mike did not get a link, Brenda.
Oh, you want me to send it to him? I don't have Mike. I have Andy. I don't have Mike on anywhere.
Mike, send it to Andy. Andy will send it to Mike. Andy can join in.
So, sorry, Mike.
Hang tight.
So yeah, it got totally carried out of the way. It's caused me personal problems. It's caused me mental fatigue and stress. And so lighten up, people. It was a damn joke. So, and I apologize to Grizzly because apparently it interfered with him as well. So.
It actually interfered with a lot. So
okay.
It's all good, Mike says. It's coming. It's coming.
So, I sent it to Andy.
They can get over themselves. I mean, if you want to at me, fine. Don't go at him. Go at me. It was a joke, for God's sakes. But it's really Brenda's fault because she started it. I hadn't even thought of it. You brought the story. I did not start it. Yes,
you turned around and said, I'm going to look for porn stars. And we also were talking about oh, don't give me that crap. Yes, you did.
Okay.
You were the first one that said it. Boy, don't make me finish you in your knee.
Would you like me to finish? I will be more than glad to finish. So, yes, when we first started this, it was a thing. I like to give Grizz crap about it.
You did a good job today. Go ahead, keep talking. And here's Andy, ladies and gentlemen. Andy.
So, yeah.
Meet me.
Yeah, it was a joke I started with Chris. I even made a little picture and sent it.
Yeah. So let's get Mike some music in the house. Mike, come on. Let's see it, baby.
What's happening, y'all? What's happening, y'all?
Oh, you're not in the firehouse.
No, I'm at the house this time. Can you hear me pretty good?
His wife's got him locked
was
in the
dancing. Andy's camera was going up and down. Was you dancing?
God forbid I make another joke. They'll at me again.
Probably. So you guys, you got me pretty good?
Oh, yeah. Loud and clear, man.
It's like
Your
a
mic's
big
hot.
glowing white
blob. It is. I'll have to...
We're not using you.
Hey, that's better. Okay.
My forehead shines better than yours.
No. You can see the moon landing on that thing.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, man.
So I have a little story about, I guess, not conspiracy theorists, exactly, that someone involved me in. So I was working at the police department one day. I don't know why I'm there, my hands up. So I was working at the police department one day. We had a call at our mall, the movie theater. Apparently some lady had called 911 and said there are people shooting inside the theater here. So, of course, that just, sent everybody out because, it's an active shooter situation or a mall, stuff like that. Everybody goes in. Of course, I'm way on the outside. I'm late to the ball game, by the way. I was a little late getting there.
Well, they only gave you one bullet. So.
That's exactly. So, I had gotten there, and people were being escorted out. The SWAT team was there, and they were bringing everybody out. Well, they weren't finding anything. The sheriff was there. No one was shot. No one was complaining on being shot. There weren't people running, which is one lady. So come to find out a little later on, the lady left another movie theater and heard shots, and I don't know what. I don't know if she was maybe not all there or whatever. I don't know. Well, apparently she heard this. It was a movie, and she thought that there was actually people shooting. Well, it's theaters, 14 theaters.
Oh, my gosh.
So I had a Twitter account that I had from my auxiliary team. I was in the police department for Higginstown Police Department, and I had responded back to WTOP. Glenn, you familiar with them down here in D.C.? Mm-hmm. So they asked me, was there anything to the incident? And I said, no, there was nothing found, nothing at all. And I didn't tell them, because I didn't know at the time, I wasn't confirmed that she, had heard this, but I'm like, nothing was found. No one was running when we got here. No one was in any hurry to get out. There was no victims. No one knew what the hell was going on, blah, blah, blah. So let it go, went away. About a year later, someone had sent me a link to another story, and I've already forgot about it. This has been a little while ago, so I didn't keep anything, but I don't have my Twitter account anymore, by the way. And there was some group that was quoting me about the incident at the mall, saying that we were there covering up stuff. What do we actually really know? The captain says there's nothing going on. There was no incident.
That's
And
typical.
yeah, I mean, and just took me and, made it look like that I was this big, huge liar and I was covering up and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh, so listening to Bart.
Sounds like my week.
Yeah, so I get a little, I'm an open-minded guy, very much so, but there's times when I saw that, I was like, no, because it went on. There was this guy had a group of people and they were talking about it and they're like, yeah, the government is taking all of our guns just for stuff like this. And that was a trial period. This whole mess, it was ridiculous. So, some of my questions that I wanted to ask Bart, but I couldn't do it at the time. I'm not a very quick typer when it comes to stuff like that, but there was a Facebook reel just last night that I saw that popped up that explained the camera situation, and it made a little sense. But one of the things that I had is when they originally went to the moon landing, wasn't there people like at Cape Canaveral all outside watching the liftoff of the Apollo or whatever? It may not have been Apollo. I'm sorry, I'm gonna screw up some things up. Whatever the spacecraft that they had to land on the moon, wasn't there tons of people watching this on the ground and so forth, so on?
So the thing is they're not disputing they went to outer space. Okay, they're disputing they did not have the technology to go to the moon.
To go the whole distance, yeah.
Right.
Okay. So that I completely missed. I didn't get a chance to. I haven't looked at the Selma's book or Live Pockets, or whatever. But it is interesting to me, and I'm not going to be like, you're a liar. Give me more info. I'm just, when you're with the police part, you want to see facts, and then you think about things. Well, wasn't this here? What about this? Stuff like that. So I got it. I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to that to understand that they definitely went. But there's still speculation of if they actually landed or not.
Yeah, that was what Bart was explaining. So
Gotcha.
Now back to the social media platforms. And I told Sportcat this a long time ago. When I was on counting, they told us, do not use any social media platforms at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of law enforcement officers. Welcome back, sir Andy. I'll give you a round of applause there, Andy.
Hi, Andy. Hi, Andy.
Is that better,
And
Andy?
the reason why is these law enforcement officers would see something on a case in another county, and they would make a comment on it, and lo and behold, somebody would repost that, right, or retweet it, or however you want to say it, and next thing you know, it's shedding a bad. Well, you're all fire departments and you're all tones, man. Y'all crack me up. Look
That's
at
Andy. That's Andy. Turn your radio down, Andy.
Oh, it's Andy.
That's Andy.
Andy.
I turned mine down.
Okay. And
it's why he didn't flip us off.
Yeah, they were shining bad lights on the department. And not only that, they were actually going to court and bringing and what do you call it? Subpoenaing their officers.
Subpoenaing their comments and stuff from their,
what did you say
Facebook
and Twitter and 1995. What was that comment you made? What was that comment you tweeted, Officer Grizzly? You remember that comment you made?
One of my wife's coworkers.
Let me repeat what you tweeted on that day, Con Grizzly. Know, if you don't recollect, here's a copy of it. And boy, they were getting slaughtered.
So, one of my wife's friends, a nurse, got fired for liking somebody else's comment. So it's ridiculous. After this week, I'm ready to throw social media out.
Yeah, I've gotten rid of the Twitter and the Instagram, but I still keep Facebook.
Instagram.
I want to get rid of Facebook, but I can't because I'm too deep into it. With you all for one, family, all the stuff for the fire department, the police department, and vice versa. I mean, it's too much. I can't get rid of it, But this is my only one. How's that?
Yeah, well, it's just I always tell people, even being a civilian, And I'll tell you this part, ladies and gentlemen, that is listening to this audio and watching this now. When you go to work for a company and you're going for an interview, they will poll your social media accounts and see what you have done in the past 2 to 3 years.
Yep.
That means your post on weekends, you getting drunk, your post being passed out on the couch, you post with the big bag of pot in your lap, rolling the doobie.
Easy
Andy.
now. Easy now.
It
You're
does.
right. I'm not the one that in his house.
So, and the only reason I know is because I was privy to that information when I worked for a company, and this was years ago, and I was like, "You got to be joking!" And she's like, "No, we go through all that because anybody can say anything on paper. We want to know the real Grizzly, you know, because everybody lets it fly out on social media."
Yeah, there's companies that just will buy the downloads from whoever it is, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. They'll say, you know, at Sportcat, let me have all of his, you know, let me have all of his posts for the past 90 days, 365 days, whatever. Yeah.
We have a problem.
They gladly sell that.
Yeah, we have an issue with that with a lot of the younger guys that are getting to the police department. Even though they're under 18, you know, the posts were all done under 18, it's still out there, you know. And so you see what they talked about as a kid, and you really have to think about that, especially when you have cadets who are, you know, 18, just fresh out of high school, and they make comments and pictures and jokes. Even though they're joking, all their kids love it, stuff like that. You know, some people are sensitive, which is, you know, quite annoying.
Yes, they are.
You know, it's quite annoying.
I'll give you 2 examples, Mike, and this is actual true facts. One of them, a guy applied for the department. I'm not going to say where. And we did a social media poll. And his kids had his guns with a bag of weed, 5-year-old and a 7-year-old sitting on his lap, smoking a doobie, holding the bag of weed with, I don't know, $800 or $900 in cash.
What?
Yeah.
Mike, that sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Okay. Now, the other guy.
No, wait, hold on. That was a guy who applied for the police department?
Yes. Yes.
Was he
Andy, when we get offline, you'll have to refresh me on that one because that doesn't sound familiar to me.
So now the other guy, right?
That's just stupid.
Nobody
was already
was
already on a department, but he was going from the corrections to be a road officer. And whether or not you're on, you still have to go through the polygraph process. Okay. And a lot of people don't understand that, but you do.
Right.
So let me turn my mic up a little bit so I'm not hollering in my studio. Okay. So when he went to take the polygraph test, they asked him, have you taken any illegal drugs in the past 3 years? And he was like, nope. And he's like, are you sure? He's like, yep. Okay. Have you taken any medication that has not been described to you that was a narcotic? Yep. There has been people in major cities, police departments have lost their jobs because they hurt their back. Hey, honey, give me one of your muscle relaxers, would you please? Yep. Not think nothing of it. And then guess what, Grizzly? Come here. Drug test time, brother. And you don't think nothing of it. And they fail.
Yep. Same in
all
fire.
That's down the tubes.
Yep. Same in the fire department. I've seen that too.
Now, when that CBD oil came out, that FBI agent, I'm not going to mention his name. My heart goes out for him. 24 years on there. You can Google it, ladies and gentlemen. 24 years on the FBI. He had back muzzle spasms. He bought CBD oil, put it on, used it for, I think, 2 or 3 weeks. Grizzly, come here. Your turn. All right, I'm coming. Pulled him in the office. Badge ID. You're gone. What for? You tested for THC. What do you mean? I don't smoke. I don't do none of that stuff. And that's when the big lawsuits start coming out about that CBD oil, and because it was not FDA regulated. So, I mean, guys, people don't think about that when you become first responders. you know. And I mean, I was just as guilty before when I was younger. I mean, hey, mom, I'm hurting my back, you know, or I got a pain. Let me have one of those pills to help me. I mean, it's family. What's wrong with that? We're not thinking on that mentality level that, oh man, this is something good, you know, I'm gonna abuse it. We just don't think about stuff like that. It's second nature. You know, it's like Mike asking me, hey, Grizzly, you got any Tylenol? Hey man, I got some Tylenol code 4
the
or
codeine
3 with codeine
yeah.
in it, right? Or hydrocodone, and gave it to you, and you don't even know it. Next thing you know, you go to take a drug test the next day and you fail, and now I cost you to lose your job. So it happens. So yeah, you gotta be careful. You really do.
Mm-hmm.
You're always underneath the microscope in the first responder field.
Yep.
And even when you get out, you know, I still from time to time will get phone calls. Even on the civilian side of it, you know, not as much now because they don't want to pay me to bring you back in and the expenses to go to court, because I love testifying, because not only does the judge laugh, but I get the people out in the audience laughing too. And the damn defense attorney, man, they get so mad at me. They do. But I like to have a good time in court. Yeah, those D picks will come back to haunt you. What?
Don't
I am not reading nothing anymore until I read it.
Don't do it.
There it is.
I am not. Didn't I say that last time on the show?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read it first, ladies and gentlemen, before I even announce it. Diane, you got me. Sean, I just had to pass a drug screen. Yeah, so they just came up to you. Hold on, I'm reading this first.
You see, I'm reading this first. He says,
FBI.
Hey, I can't see it before you put them up. So.
Oh, okay, I'm just making sure. FBI has taught AI how to mimic a human behavior. Facebook is no, you're actually right about that. Not only have I seen that article somewhere, it's been a bad week, but no, I didn't get to really follow up on that. But this is really becoming a huge problem. This AI.
yeah,
it is. We're talking, they estimated the other day 300 million jobs are going to be lost. 300 million. Now, the rumor is if this AI works as good as it does, it's going to be over 900 million people without jobs. Now, what in the hell is 900 million people in America going to do without jobs? Now, somebody needs to explain to me about what's going to happen, because I know what's going to happen. Somebody needs to do something. Because I mean, McDonald's,
so
stores,
what is this you're saying?
Out.
Oh, McDonald's is laying off people right now.
Right.
Yeah,
it says
that's
Yeah,
what I
you go to
heard.
McDonald's and you go up to an ATM machine, place your.
Yeah, McDonald's
Bam.
is already
And you
laying
go up there and
people
pick it
off.
up.
That was on the news. I think I read that on Yahoo News earlier
Yeah,
this week.
I seen that article. They were talking about replacing them all with, you know, AI computers, everything else.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Last
I'm
year
sorry,
when I
I
was
don't-
traveling up in the Northeast, we went into one of those McDonald's, and it was the strangest thing.
yeah.
I'll have to
really
look that
was.
up.
And
I've never heard about that.
Yeah, I think we're in Vermont, and we went into a McDonald's, and you literally push a button, and
Here's my fact check.
I think there might have been like 3 people in the whole restaurant, but I mean, there was like it was weird. It was just so weird. It was like a sterile environment.
Well, and
So,
it's not only
Norma-
that, but have you noticed that when they do things like that, it's like this spectrum of keeping people away from each other, not communicating with human beings. I mean, that's what.
Well, yeah, I
that
got
makes
that
me feel
feeling.
like.
Well, I got that feeling from there because even the layout of the restaurant, because it was a new one they had just remodeled, was different. I mean, they had like the layout was set up to where people weren't even close. I mean, like even when I was with Ken, he wasn't. You know, normally you're like across the booth. We were on these little round table or round seats, and the table was round. And it was more elevated, so it was like almost up to here, and it was further away. It was just a whole weird futuristic thing.
You're right, Norma. You're right. We do.
What's wrong?
I'm waiting for my fact checker, brother. So Norma, they have AI that's been
I'm trying
out.
to find it. Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
AI has been out. They have manufactured 4 different types. Out of the 4 different types of AI technology, the government wants one brand. And it is so scary. The other 3 they had to terminate. And
Is
the
that the
reason why
meta
they had
AI?
to terminate, yes. And the reason why they had to terminate the AI that they made, one of them did not like human beings. They wanted to overpower them. The other one did not like human beings and wanted control of all the nuclear warheads because they said that we're ignorant and we should not have any control over that.
And the third one, agree.
The third one said the human being should not be able to inhabit. How's it? What's
Inhabit?
Yes, the world, because we're so ignorant, and the only thing we do is kill each other. They had to terminate those programs.
I heard that there was a program that they also had that it started to talk to each other in a language, and no one could figure it out, and they worked.
That's
and
one of the 3.
And they spazzed out, and they said, "Out it goes."
Yes. When they made the movie Terminator, I told my buddy Scott, I said, Scott, I'll never forget it. I said, this is going to be the future right here, buddy. And he laughed and laughed. Again, Scott, look. I told you so, bro.
Did you see the article about they took something from some part of the human brain and put it in a monkey?
Yes, ma'am. I posted it on my Facebook.
Yeah, they gotta stop playing God. Who gives them the right to play God?
I put that on my Facebook.
No,
thanks, Barb. Barb and I are rocking together. Woohoo! Yes, we did a good job.
Hi, Barb.
I'm very proud of Barb. She's been really good. Thank you, Barb. Diane,
we also
I thought it was safe to say it wasn't that way. Well, unfortunately, AI is taking it over. So I'm sorry, Sportcat. I didn't mean to really cut you off.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find that info. I'm seeing some stuff about it because now you got me really, really curious about this fully automated McDonald's.
Yes,
I definitely want to see that. I think that would be pretty.
You probably have
just
to go to DuckDuckGo. Don't go to Google because it's really censoring stuff. DuckDuckGo.
That's that was Mike. That was out. That article was done. Oh my gosh, I seen that months ago.
Probably.
It's not something you're going to pull up new. It was a while ago.
I will tell you, I don't watch the news a whole lot, and it was mainly because I'm just tired of the back and forth of politics and stuff like that. It all stopped right around the beginning of the election, and I'm like, I'm just not into it. My father-in-law watches it big time, and then I hear both sides of it. I actually stay out of it. So I do miss that. I do catch some of the local stuff like that involves a lot of traffic, like down in DC, again, the WTOP news. So, but I don't hear much. So this stuff doesn't pop up on me, and I just don't see it. So pardon my ignorance, but thank you for letting me know,
I want to say something.
There's also
the research. It's out there, Mike. It really
there's
is.
Also gas stations that are completely that way in the South. I want to say that it's Racetrack, or is it Raceway? It's one of the races in the South that is gone to that. When you go in and you open the door to get a soda and you pull it out, it automatically knows there's one taken out and it will scan it. You have to put in a credit card before you go in the store to enter the store, just like you do to pay for gas. Yeah, it's crazy.
I wanna say something real quick just in case. If you guys hear like a lot of heavy breathing, my daughter's English bulldog just came to the house and she was sitting over here with me. So that's all it is. I don't want to hear no comments.
Just at Sportcat, Jesus, get it over with.
I thought that was coming from Andy's house. So okay, thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, Jen's here.
Oh, I caught that one, Andy.
He does it all the time.
That was slick.
Sorry.
You know.
I forgot what I was going to say, ladies and gentlemen. That just
Andy
made
got
my
his
mind go
zinger in
blank.
there.
Yeah, he did.
Andy.
Did your mind go blank? Heavy breathing?
It did. My mind
Talking
went
about
blank,
heavy
ladies and
breathing,
gentlemen.
and Grizzly loses his mind.
I did. So I don't remember what I was saying. I just.
Well, we were talking about the AI, and Brenda, I just thought about something a while ago. They set up a store somewhere where they uses the NFC, which is the near field communications on the back of your phone. And you walk in, and as you walk past things, if you want it will actually give you it always keeps track on you and kind of gives you an advertisement. Hey, you were interested in this. We have this now, or blah, blah, blah. And the same thing, when you go up to buy, it's just like when you take your phone and swipe it on a credit card reader. you could buy stuff that way automatic. The thing would come open and so forth, so on. My job, I have a lot. We actually have lock boxes very similar to Amazon, where you can get your prescription. You have a special code, your phone reads, so forth, so forth. You get your prescription out of the box. If you have any questions, you pick a phone up. There's a 24-hour hotline that speaks to pharmacists if you have any pharmacist questions. I have a lot of those popping up at retirement communities and nursing homes. So, it adds to it.
we're being forced into. Now, I understand we have to advance for the future. That has to happen. We have to evolve to that. But we are being forced and pushed into the whole digital thing, and we need to be careful because there is a good digital and there is a bad digital. And
I found out the bad digital tonight. My mom clicked a link that showed up on her phone, and me and Habib argued for about 20 minutes, and it was not.
I love messing with them when they call.
Everybody's got to be aware.
I can't tell her how to send a Gmail. If she's listening, sorry, Mom. But I can't tell her how to send a Gmail. But this guy told her how to go open a phone, go to Play Store, download something, NetDesk or something like that, and put in codes. She had him going to the store, to the bank. And I'm like, what? She calls me. She's like, hey, they called. I got to go to the bank. I'm like, who called? She's like, PayPal. And I'm like, no, they didn't. And then she says, well, I got him on the phone. And this guy's like, well, I'm from the PayPal. And I'm like, oh, really? What's your phone number?
Right.
Yeah. And then, of course, I proceeded to lose my mind, which, as you all have seen, I'm capable of. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So Diane put up there, did you see they called for a 6-month hold on AI research? That is correct. But what they did not tell you was who was able to continue the research.
The government's probably 40 years ahead on it that we don't even know.
Longer than that. Yeah, I really think that our government holds stuff that's over 50 years ahead of where we are now.
I wouldn't doubt that. I mean,
if not longer.
That's usually when they put a moratorium on something, it's a minimum of 50 years. So I wouldn't doubt that.
They just cracked me up. Maybe I should. I could just run around and do whatever I want to do. Ooh, I want to run naked through the yard. I can't get arrested.
There we go. Oh my Lord. So when Bart said that,
not me.
When Bart said that Biden's hand went through the microphone, I about freaked out. I want to see that
CGI.
video.
I haven't seen that one. Yeah, I'd like to see that one.
That was all CGI. It was.
I haven't seen that one. I'd like to see that one.
Because you know what? Here's the problem also with that. It was supposed to be in the White House front lawn. There's no parking lot, and there was a parking lot with cars in it. Duh.
Man, depends on where depends on where it was set up.
I understand that. There's not where it was set up, there wasn't a parking lot.
I mean, it could actually.
When they're going to turn around and interview the president, aren't they going to have the pretty background and everything? There's not going to be a parking lot with cars parked out there.
When you describe parking lot, are you talking like a mall parking lot, or are you talking about 3 cars?
It was a big parking lot. There was quite
I'll
a
give
few
you that
cars.
one, but yeah, because there's actually on all 4 sides of it ample parking so that they can put apparatus there. Mike's probably been involved with some of the pre-planning, so.
Yeah, we have stuff up that happens up here all the time when he lands to go up to Camp David. So
that's right. I forgot you're there.
Yeah, we have that one. So Bart brought up something about the JFK, and then it's back, sparked my memory. Kevin Costner's movie JFK that he did back in the 90s.
I remember that.
Very interesting, makes you think. But at the end of it, they said that they sealed the records. The government sealed the records for that for like 20 years or whatever. Aren't we in that phase now where we can open that up and actually look at the rest of the records?
We are.
They got sealed again, I think.
Yeah, no.
I remember they said that they were not letting them out.
Yeah, we are. But they said they did talk about some of it. But then I read an article, and I don't know if it was Trump or if it's actually the Biden administration 2.0, that said that they don't think that we're ready to see that yet. Although, I don't know why they don't let it out, because
Barbara,
we all
check
know.
Your phone. Barbara, check your phone. Barbara, check your phone. Attention, Barbara. Go ahead.
Yeah. Everybody knows
one of the things that we have this big January the 6th hearing, and it's on prime time, and it's going to be made this big media spectacular. You know, I'm old enough to remember 9/11 very clearly, very dearly. Why did we never have that for 9/11? We lost thousands of lives. Our country was attacked. Why did we not have that? I'm not trying to get political, but I know that the whole January 6th thing was political. I get that, but why did that? If we can do that for one, why couldn't we do that for the other?
When we're off the air, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you why.
No, I mean, I suspect that I know. It's because they don't want you to know, but it amazes me that people don't question things like that.
No, and that's it. But that's part of that whole brainwashing.
Yeah, because once they started having those hearings, and I was like, well, this is like a dang game show.
Let me tell you what conspiracy theorist means. Conspiracy theorist means somebody who critically thinks, who thinks outside the box of what people want them to think. That's
Fact
why
checker,
we're labeled that
Mike,
way.
Get the actual phrase for that, please.
For the conspiracy theorist, gotcha.
Yes, sir.
But
Because there's actual.
There is actually. I remember hearing about what they say with one shred or whatever. I'll get it for you. Go ahead.
Okay.
He's like Dr. Google.
Every time,
when it comes to the law, let's preach it.
and every time it comes up, people say, well, you're crazy. That's a conspiracy theorist. Well, guess what? Wait around because it'll come true. That's all there is to it.
You know, go to any old or used bookstore or Goodwill, find a dictionary.
Goodwill.
9/11. Yeah, well, I mean, you know what I'm saying. Where you buy used stuff and look up Ground Zero. Ground Zero was never used in that term until 9/11. They changed the definition. So they change the definition of words all the time.
But there's a lot. You look in old. There was a thing I was watching. I can't remember what movie it was, but it was a movie that was made like, I don't know, 10 years, 10 years before 9/11. And they were saying in this movie, and it was showing that happening. It was showing the Twin Towers falling.
Okay, then follow the Supertramp. Follow the Supertramp conspiracy. Breakfast in America.
Well, yeah, and I mean, but they've shown us everything that they're doing now. They've already shown us.
We had a training class with FEMA textbooks. I think I still have one somewhere. I saved it in the front of the book, and this was a 90 book. I don't know. I've been in this career for a while, and it had the Twin Towers on it in a bullseye on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the government published that, and that was it was a long time ago. It was back early in my career because I remember looking at it going, man, it's kind of odd.
Yeah, Chris, you're right. That was it. He did want those released.
Yeah, that's why I left Cruisers Chris comment up there.
Cruiser Chris is in the house.
Yeah, I know that it was somebody that was stopping it and somebody wanted it. And yeah, you're right. It was
9701. What's the
Sir.
definition?
So I found the definition, but this is not the one that I was told, and I'm trying to figure out how to put that down in words the one I was told. But so I have two. I have the Webster's version of it, which is a person who believes that some secret but influential organization is responsible for a particular event or phenomenon.
Now,
so that's that one. And then another one is pretty much the same thing, except there's some other stuff to it. But go ahead, Grizzly.
No, go ahead and read it.
So this one here says conspiracy theorists. That's the theory. I'm sorry. I looked at the wrong thing and clicked the wrong thing. So go ahead and tell me what you got, and I'll find you the second one here that I found. Sorry about that.
The key word, what he said, was a person. Think about that when he finds the other one.
I don't know what rabbit hole you're going down on this one. So.
Now, we'll take you.
I do.
Go ahead and keep talking. I'm still looking.
Well, I was enjoying looking at your.
Oh, I thought he had it. I'm sorry.
Do you feel like you're under pressure, Mike?
There was what was that, Brenda? I'm sorry.
I said, do you feel like you're under pressure?
Just a little bit. I'm singing the song Under Pressure.
He's like our secretary here.
Exactly. So I like watching the I don't know, it's the, I guess, like the ancient alien files and stuff like that.
Yep.
They had a definition that was perfect, that brought everything to light, and it wasn't. This one here is the Webster's is basically thinking that a government or one person is the one that's taking care of it. The way that the Ancient Aliens described it, that program, that sitcom, was, I'm trying to figure out how it was. It was basically like, all you need is one, either shed of truth or something that comes close, that makes you think, and then it may become a conspiracy at that point. So, and I might be saying it wrong, but I'll find it.
Do you know what I found out about that word?
What?
I found out that word was actually created by a 3-letter agency because people started wondering and asking questions about JFK's death. So that came about by that 3-letter agency to say, oh, it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy theorist. They're crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we are not crazy.
I'm crazy.
Well, okay, we are crazy, but to an extent.
Mhm.
See, even Andy agrees I'm crazy.
Yep.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, an Indiana Penal Code in 2017, Title 35, Article 41, Chapter 5. That's 3141 5-2. A
Yes,
person
Norma.
conspires to commit a felony when intent to commit a felony. Now, we can remove the felony and put anything you want in there, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? We can replace felony with anything. The truth. That's all right. Person agrees with another person to commit the felony. A conspiracy to commit a felony is a felony of the same level as underlying felony. However, a conspiracy to commit murder is. Now, I'm not going to go any further because then it talks about different felony lovers. Wow.
Norma
So,
got
it only
that right.
takes is one or more person to have a conspiracy in Indiana, and it's a felony.
It takes more than one in Indiana?
Yes. So if you and I talk and somebody hears that, that's a conspiracy right there.
It's like the old definition of gangs when they changed it, remember?
I'm glad I don't live in Indiana.
Goes back to Kentucky, Norma says. Cruiser,
was...
Chris, I'm doing well. Hope you're all doing well as well. Yes, we are. Sean, she, us, correct. Yes. Iswald acted alone. Oswald acted alone. That is right. Yes, you say no. Cruiser, I saw something like Discovery Channel and History Channel one weekend about a secret government and about the fact that everybody that think we are making decisions really aren't the people. You are actually correct. I do believe in that, Cruiser Chris. Cruiser Chris again making decisions. Yes, and Sean says that would be correct.
Oswald.
Now, the one thing I would recommend is that you use Wikipedia. That's a good resource. I always like using them. Now, Wikipedia. Now, the single bullet theory is impossible. Anybody in the right single mind. And guys, I have the same rifle as he did. Okay, everybody does that collects antiques. Everybody has the same caliber rifle that has that rifle. I mean, of course, that makes sense. I just double contradicted myself. But to shoot something like that and get back on target and shoot again and get back on target, is the recoil and everything. I don't care how good you are. Yes, it was a bolt action. So everybody on this panel was probably shot a 30-06 or 308. Am I right or wrong?
Yep.
So we know what the recoil feels like that. So imagine you with laying outside a window with a really old scope and trying to aim through all those tree branches. And then you hear gunshots across from the fence. You hear gunshots come from the grassy knoll. I mean, they confiscated everybody's cameras. And some people came forward with their cameras. So
trust us, we're with the government. We're here to help you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What did Reagan say? Those are the worst words you can ever hear. Trust me, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Yep. Well, it was like the 9/11 with the Pentagon. They took and rearranged the cars on the roadway and rephotographed them. and they have proof of that now. It's out there. It's like,
Yep.
Oh, wait a minute. So they're trying. You're saying that someone is trying to say that didn't happen to the Pentagon?
the Pentagon was hit. There's no argument about that. The Pentagon was hit, but it wasn't a plane.
You're right,
There was no
Sean.
wings. There was
That's
no
why I
wings.
try to
Where were
keep
the
clean.
wings? None of the firemen I know that were on scene there found a single jet part. Where were the wings? You remember when the wings hit the World Trade Center? You saw the impression of them against the building. Now, CGI or not, you still saw them. On the Pentagon, when you look at that round hole, there's no spots for the wings. The Pentagon was hit with something, yes. And you and I both know, I grew
Norma
up there.
says a missile.
Well, I'm not saying that. That's what I think, but I'm not saying that.
Did
But-
we have decent AI, not AI, but imaging in 2001?
Well,
Like we do
that's what I
now?
was going to say. You
better
right around
believe
that
we did.
area, even the 7-Elevens had good cameras.
'Cause
Everywhere around DC had cameras.
Because I remember seeing the footage from the parking lot, and it looked like a plane to me. From the parking lot, but it just did not look like it. You know, it doesn't. It's
It didn't like it fit in the picture.
I don't.
Well,
yeah.
you can.
to me. I'm the opposite. I think it did fit in the picture, but I don't think. I don't think it doesn't look like
So
that
you're
they
trying to
could have
tell me-
made.
You're trying to tell me 9701. How long was that plane?
I don't know.
Look,
Let's just say
somebody-
200 feet. Okay. How wide was it? 100 feet wingspan? And that plane's going to fly.
I bet it was longer than that. Oh well, that makes
So let's
that's probably
say-
about right. Go ahead.
It was a
So
short.
let's say we're going to say it flew 5 feet above the ground perfectly
Impossible.
to inside the Pentagon, 5 feet above the ground, and flew all the way through it. I don't see how that's possible. Because that plane would have hit the ground nose
somebody
first.
found the video that actually came out of one of the parking lot cameras over there.
That's yeah.
It was an old one. You could tell it wasn't a brand new video, and you seen the missile cruise across the grass and go right into the Pentagon.
That's what Norma just said. My military never worked for there, and the footage showed it was a missile.
Yeah.
So was that did we think it was a 747 plane?
I don't think it was a 747. It was a short hop, maybe like a 727 or something. It was
'Cause I'm looking up- I'm looking up-
737, I think.
Was it a 37? Okay, yeah, because I
could
think
be
it was
wrong.
going. Because
I
it was
could be
going.
wrong.
Wasn't going too far. It was a short hop plane, so it wasn't. a big
Sean
one, but-
says they took all the CBC cams. Yes, they did. Yes, they did immediately.
Yes, they did. Yes.
Yeah,
And
somebody had one.
you guys are pretty you were pretty close on the measurements of that, by the way. 94 foot long, 109 foot wide. So that's pretty. You were pretty good.
So what I'm saying is, if you look at one of my old phones, so a plane flying this way, to parallel to the ground, there was no way.
Not
It
at
would
that
have to
speed.
come in at an angle. See. And it would
Yeah,
not-
if you look at
not
if you
penetrate.
look
It
at
would
the way it
hit
would have
the
had to
ground
come up
first.
over the Potomac, it would have had to come around, and it didn't take out. The wings would have taken out the telephone poles, and that would have caused the plane.
The
to
wings
crash
would
or
hit the
have
ground
ripped it.
first.
Yeah, well, no, they would hit the telephone poles at that angle. At that height.
Yes, they would hit the ground
They would
first.
hit the trees. The way it comes in, it has to come around. It would have to come around the Potomac. It would have to come up over the GW Parkway, then back down and level again. That's not possible to do at 250 miles an hour to keep that plane aloft. It's not possible.
Not especially that low to the ground. There's no possible way. Now, if there's a scientist out there, or an airplane pilot out there in La La Land, I'd like to come on, and honestly, and
trust me, when I
differently.
flew, I talked to pilots all the time about this. This is a big thing with me. I wanted to get their input, and I have not met a pilot yet that believes the Pentagon was a plane.
Sean says the draft wouldn't allow that.
That's correct. It would because they got to go up to go over and down, and they got to stay aloft at a certain speed. So when you're at, what is it for that size plane? I think minimum is like 150 minimum. So you're going 150 miles an hour. You've got to go up, down, and in. There's no way. Not to mention the wingspan would have taken down the telephone poles, arched the trees.
Everything in its way.
Very good.
Yeah. Or at least,
So
or
where
at
is-
least tore them off.
So where is the plane What happened to the plane then that they were talking about that actually hit it? Because I remember a couple of news clippings. One of them was this lady, her son. She was that was her son's first flight, and he was supposed to be going. So I forget where they were going, and that was his first flight, and he had supposedly perished in the Pentagon. That was his plane that he was on. So it's kind of like, so where is that at then? What happened to that?
Somebody, something killed them.
So here's the deal. What Mike's saying is not only what happened to the remains of the plane, what plane went down in Pennsylvania? What was the tail number on that one?
93.
Now, when they showed the ground, what did we not see?
Probably plane.
That is correct. Only thing we saw was a hole. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not very intelligent when my psychiatrist talks to me. Okay, I did poorly in math, but let me tell you something.
Did you go this
when
way?
I blow crap up, there is crap everywhere. Okay, I'm telling you, debris, field. Look, Andy knows. Andy blows crap up. Man, when we were kids, we played with firecrackers. We used G.I. Joes. We used Star Wars figures.
That's
we
right.
know, hey, that arm goes somewhere off that doll. Am I right,
And that's another
Andy?
thing.
Yep.
They say the plane wings and everything totally incinerated. Oh, but here's the wallet
You know-
of the guy in seat number 2.
You know, since you said that, I was watching a movie on Boeing when they came out with the Max 8s and how the Max 8s, they had something. I'm sorry that I don't remember half the terms, but
yes, Sean,
the Max,
this is old news. Yes.
the Max,
Sorry,
the Max 10, their Max 8s or whatever, took over the steering and they crashed and they had to ground all the Max 8s, the Boeing Max 8s. Remember that whole story?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when I was watching the movie, they had a crash site from the one I think that was over. I'll look it up here and tell you which one it was. But the picture is the same thing like the 99.3 one. You don't see the plane. I mean, and they said the same thing. It disintegrated. I mean, it's just like it looks the same. It looks similar. So
I've seen it's kind of funny because I know people that live in New York, and there's been a couple of things floating around out there. See, from the news, you've seen the planes. Okay. But people that were out there with their cell phones recording, all they seen was things blow up. There was no planes on that recording. Nothing.
All thing I saw
A lot of
I
people
heard
on
a
the ground.
boom, and there was a
lot
bunch
of
of
people-
planes.
A lot of people on the ground said the same thing. They didn't hear, when a plane's coming down, you're going to hear it. They didn't hear a plane. They didn't see a plane. They just heard the kaboom. So explain that one.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do not know what Pandora's box we open up, but if all of us die tonight, I love you guys with all my heart. I'm just letting you know.
And
I'm alone in Knoxville.
I'm liking this. This is
Andy, when I was a kid, I blew up my brother's Stretch Armstrong. You remember that guy that you?
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me you.
Dude, that was a mess.
Yeah, no felonies.
It didn't
no
go
felonies
everywhere.
on
It was
the
just
show.
a mess.
Norma says a 9/11 private retired pilot said that a few aircraft parts that were found were brought there for. Ooh, really? After optics for explosion, so it was a production.
Boy, I
Now
think
that
Norma,
would make sense
I
because
think Norma and I
heard
watched the same thing.
I heard that there were flatbed trucks with tarps on them that was brought in from the backside.
Yep.
Now that would make sense. Now, once again, it is a what? Conspiracy
It's our opinion.
theory.
Yes, and
So
it's our
it is
opinion.
a
and
conspiracy theory.
Yep.
Now, for everybody that lost a member in 9/11, our hearts do go out, and we are very sorry and tragic. We're not trying to bring up or stir up any first
trying to trigger
responders or trigger any memories or emotions. We just want the truth. We don't know what's real or not real anymore.
People deserve the truth.
Well, yeah, that's the
So, I
problem.
just
Is
wanted
we
to
do
throw that out
deserve the
there.
truth, and unfortunately, that will, in our lifetime, we'll probably never get it. Maybe
I
my
don't know about
grandchildren's
that.
lifetime.
Maybe.
97, what are you working on down there? Have you not found it yet?
Oh, I've found all kind of stuff, but see the my
He's
whole,
in a rabbit
Oh,
hole.
why?
see here's
We lost Mike.
yeah. So I mean, I'm finding all kind of pictures of the Pentagon. I'm seeing plane parts everywhere and stuff like that. But as we're talking, which ones are real and not real? You know what I mean? So I'm trying to pick that. I'm trying to see if that is a trustworthy news source. So and then so I'm looking at the Ethiopian airplane crash, and I am seeing plane parts on this one now. For the first one, I did not, just saw a big crater, but now I'm seeing other plane parts that they were picking out. So now I'm going back to the now to see if I can
thought
find some
Andy was
picture.
handcuffed to his desk. I thought that he had a bracelet on. I thought he was handcuffed.
No, he's got a ankle
thought he was
monitor on his
handcuffed.
wheelchair there. So
Andy, is my wife still over there?
No,
I'm
if
sorry.
he was, I
Andy.
wouldn't be online.
He always. Jen says he ain't giving him the time of day.
Oh my lord. Cruiser Chris, they were going from Dallas Airport to SFO and San Francisco Mike. Yes. So
Wait, what?
go ahead and
I'm still stuck with Andy being. It looked like he was handcuffed. So what is that next to you, Andy?
What, this over here?
Yeah, what is that?
My refrigerator.
Oh, well, when you had your arm up there and you were doing this, it looked like you couldn't move because you were handcuffed.
Yeah, it does look like
So,
that.
And you play with handcuffs. That's my kind of guy. Let's go, Andy.
Oh my
Andy's
lord!
handcuffed to a refrigerator. That's my kind of guy.
Hey, I want to tell you this. I shouldn't. So, my captain got into pursuit, and I wasn't too far from the expressway. Well, I caught up, and they were on the interstate. I'm not going to say what interstate. And I come up behind him, and he was running down the hill. And he was like, "Stop, grab her." I'm like, "Grab who?" He said, "I know, I'm there." And I was like, so he took off. So I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this girl? I'm like, come here.
At Grizzly.
And I handcuffed her to the front push bar to his police car. And I take off running down this hill. Well, now, if y'all
This
know
is going
physics,
downhill fast.
yeah, if you know physics, right? Now, my captain cleared this privacy fence. I did not. I just went pow right through it. Man, I fell flat on my face. I mean, I was embarrassed, And next thing I know, my captain's screaming, "Don't move, don't move." He's like, "Don't shoot me, please don't do it. I'm not gonna go nowhere. Don't shoot me." And I'm like, he's hollering for me, "Grizzly, where you at?" And I'm like, "I'm right here," and I got privacy fence all stuck to my uniform. He's like, "What in the hell did you just do?" And I'm like, we're going to have to knock on this door and let him know. We got to replace this extra privacy fence. He said, did you not clear it? I said, if anyone was coming down that hill, I couldn't stop. It was rotten. I just went right damn through it. Meanwhile, everybody on the interstate saw these two police cars with lights on and this girl handcuffed to the bumper of this police car. And they were dialing 911. They called the chief of police at home and woke them up. So the guy that jumped not the privacy fence, remember, we're out in the country. We call it barbed wire fence. Cut the living daylights out of him. I mean, it was bad. He was, that old saying, stuck like a stick pig. That's how bad it was. I mean, I thought he was going to die. And I was more worried about blood on me than him bleeding. That's how bad it was.
Typical cop.
Yeah, I'm not joking. And next thing you know, I mean, we're getting him, wrapped up and everything and all that. And I already got the girl in the back seat. And I look and the captain goes, "Did you see who just pulled up?" And I'm like, "No, why?" He said, "Look slowly behind your car." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You're just slowly behind your car. Look who's walking." Now look, and there's a guy in shorts and a T-shirt and flip-flops. And I'm like, I said, "What the hell is he doing?" I said, "Oh, he's probably just passing by and seeing we're okay." I said, "What up, Chief? Woo!" He's like, "Yeah, woo, my rear." He said, "Which one of y'all gonna me, but did that girl to the front of that bumper?" And Captain was like, "What is he talking about?" I was like, "You don't want to know. Play dumb, play dumb." And the girl in the back seat was like, That one right there did it. That one right there. How embarrassing. Everybody was honking their horn at me. So, anyways, do not, ladies and gentlemen, hook somebody to the bumper of the front of the car. Or the first car.
At Grizzly.
Yeah. And to the owners of that privacy fence, thank you for not letting the department pay for that. I appreciate that. I really
And
do.
then he had her in the back of the car.
Yeah.
I've been handcuffed to a few things, but a bumper of a car, I can say I have never had.
At Brenda.
At Brenda.
I'm trying to stay scandalous this week because I have been through hell this week. My life has been a literal hell this week.
It has. It's been bad. So Diane says, I always want to know what was inside those stretch dolls. Stretch dolls?
Yeah.
What? What? Diane, you're the one that got me last week. I'm not reading no more.
Stretch dolls?
No,
what?
No,
I was talking about that, stretches.
And by the way, I did actually say
Stretch
the audio
Armstrong.
clip of Grizzly.
Yes.
So
I'm
You
lost.
what?
Oh, I know what he's talking about. I know what
No,
you're talking
I
about, Brenda, now.
Yeah. What'd
So-
you say, Glenn?
I said I did actually save the audio file of Grizzly asking for. So, but it's been a bad week, so I didn't send it.
Norma, I have no idea. So, Norma, I'm going to tell you one more police story, and then I'm going to knock it off the rest of the night because I'm going to get myself in trouble. So,
You can't tell fire stories.
my captain was on a traffic stop, and I pulled up. And, for courtesy, you always pull up, whether it's your department or not, and ask them, hey, are you okay? Do you need backup? And usually when you pull up, the officer will have his hand behind his back, and he'll either give you a sign to stop, or he'll wave you on. And that's what they do to let you know, hey, don't distract me, I'm good, go on. So, because sometimes you can actually hurt and interfere and get the officer hurt real bad or shot or whatnot. So anyway, I stopped and I said, hey, Cat, what you got? He said, no, this guy's drunker than hell. And I was like, really? He said, yeah. He said, damn it. He said, I'm just about to get off shift. Remember that, Sportcat? Just about to get off shift.
Always happens.
He said, yeah. And he said, now I'm going to have to go in. I said, how bad is it? He said, man, he ain't getting out of the car. And I looked up. I was like, good gracious. And I took off running. He's like, what? I was like, he's swallowing pills. He's swallowing pills. And I grabbed that some bucket of headlight. I'm like, spit him out, man. Spit him out. And I'm choking him. I am choking the living hell out of this guy. And I'm like, ripping him out. And he's like, and I'm like, get out, man. And I cut the seatbelt and I pulled him out, man. I'm like, spit him out. And I'm like, he's spitting them all out and everything. And I'm like, getting him handcuffed. I'm like, man, I got you for tampering with evidence and all that stuff. I can't give me the evidence bag. And then he goes, you out down here killing me, right? I'm like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, they were Tic Tacs.
Oh.
At Grizzly.
He was swallowing a handful of Tic Tacs. I really thought that was going to help on the certified BAC machines, yeah. Yeah, Norma. Oh my God. Yeah, I did not get to live that down for about 6 months.
Oh, that's
wow.
Washington Dulles
That's
Airport
great.
to SO Mike in San Francisco. Oh my G, Norma. Yes, Norma. That was an oh my G. I mean, my captain was sitting on his legs. There's a certain way to when somebody's out of control and drunk, wanting to fight, you cross their legs and fold them.
That's
and put your
that's
knees
the way
on
they
them.
put you.
And I was actually ripped him out and cut the seatbelt off of him because at the time we had a real drug problem. So,
And I'm going to bet that guy right now probably has a complete aversion to Tic Tacs.
that would have been a hell of a Tic Tac commercial.
Good God.
And I bet you he probably got out of the DUI because of that.
No, he sure didn't.
Well,
he
that's
sure
good.
didn't.
That's
So,
good.
That's
That's
funny.
good.
Yeah, he was over 3 times the legal limit, and he told the judge that we pulled him in
Tic Tac wasn't helping
Kentucky
him.
and drove him over to Indiana and arrested him. So
That Tic Tac wasn't going to help him.
that was embarrassing. No, that was
Well,
embarrassing.
Grizzly.
I was waiting on you to say he was a diabetic.
Right.
His what do they call his sugar pills they put in their mouth?
Glucose. Yeah.
I do have those
Gluc
tabs.
Glucogen or
Yeah.
glycogen. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, the tabs. Yeah, I was waiting on you to tell me that. Well, hey, and speaking of diabetics, I understand now Narcan is available in CVS and Walgreens and all these places. So thank God I'm not in the streets anymore, because I cannot imagine how many diabetics are going to be Narcan.
Oh my God.
Well, you know, in DC,
they
go ahead.
got them on college campuses now, and their vending machines free.
There you go. DC has them. They have vending machines set up in certain areas, like
like
in those areas.
Stations. Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, and you can pay. They even have hygiene stuff in there. So they're going to be putting in your COVID test and even an AIDS test in those things.
You know what's sad, 9701, is that you go on YouTube and they're sitting there, these kids. I'm gonna call them kids, and they're sitting around and they're seeing how far they can go, and they're bringing them back and laughing about it.
Oh, I've ran that call. Absolutely.
No
yes.
kidding.
I've ran that call in Atlanta. Absolutely. Yes. He's telling the truth. I've ran that call.
Wow.
I'm sitting here trying to remain calm.
The safe one. Yeah.
I haven't seen any of those calls yet.
That's bad.
Yes, that is.
I've ran that in Atlanta. They usually there's like 4 or 5 of them.
2 things Narcan. We get it free.
And there's one person that stays whatever, sober, non-high, whatever,
and brings you back.
Yeah.
So they're putting machines up. What, you drop a quarter in it and you can?
No, it's free.
Yeah, this is all free. Yeah.
They won't put them in schools too.
I've got like 7 or 8 canisters of Narcan. I get them free because my medicine. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Take pills in one hand and in the other at the same time?
Hey, your sinuses will be clear too. So.
Oh Lord. So.
Well, you know.
I mean, I think we've went a little bit overboard with the Narcan. I mean, yes, we're in the middle of a crisis with it, but
okay, so
who created it?
So we went over the thing with the Narcan. So we went over the thing with the AIDS. Okay, we passed out free condoms. Then we went over the thing about free needles, and now we're going to the Narcan. So what we're gonna do? Start giving out free heroin like some states?
Well, don't forget. Safe zones now, safe areas that take your heroin now.
Yes, but you know all the places, all the things with the needles.
Dying.
Do you know you cannot take needles in and give them away? Yeah, if you're in like a QT or whatever bathroom and there's a sharps container, but you can't take a sharps container just anywhere. It has to be specially handled.
They got tampons in boys' bathrooms?
Yes,
they do.
They do.
Yes.
For the conversions, the changings, or however the proper term is for it.
I don't even know
this time I'm going to have to remove myself from the channel before I get broadcasted.
Where'd he go?
I had to do that.
Yeah. It's for
really?
when surgery's not finished.
I don't understand.
Glenn, surgery's not finished.
When
you're transitioning. You're transitioning.
Transitions over to a male, and they still have their female body parts.
Oh, they haven't had the surgery yet. I got you. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. A little slow. It's been a long day.
You shouldn't have to be slow, Grizzly. This stuff is all over the place, and they make it absolutely clear.
No,
well,
I mean,
she said they make it absolutely clear.
All out there.
Ooh.
There was no Q. It was a C.
Tampons are for nosebleeds.
Hey, I actually used that to stop a nosebleed one time.
Yeah, they do.
Just don't.
I've shoved that in a bullet hole once, and that worked.
I could see that. Stop the bleed, right? Pack the wound. Pack the wound.
Actually, I think military medics train that way. So yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we had this one guy that stowed a lot of merchandise for this retail company.
Wouldn't have been Best Buy, would it?
He got caught out in the parking lot by an employee. The employee tackled him, and he fell and hit his head across the curb. And when he went inside, he was cut pretty bad, and they already had EMS en route. So I asked one of the females for a tampon, and he had no idea. But I peeled it and stuck it to his forehead. And when EMS walked in, they dropped the bags and fell on the floor and rolling and laughing. And he didn't know what was so funny. They took pictures of it. I don't know how they did not get in trouble.
Did you leave the string on it?
No, or no, the pad. No,
Yeah, that's what I was about to
pad.
ask.
The pad.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wings.
Pad.
Yeah. He had it
Okay.
Yeah,
across
that's
the
what I was
forehead.
going with.
Why
Yeah.
did you do that and leave the?
Well,
Okay,
I
I
don't know
got
what
it.
the
The
difference is
pad.
between a tampon and a pad.
Oh my God.
I
At
mean,
Grizzly.
I wouldn't have been able to
So-
contain myself. If I'd have walked in there and seen that, I'd have been like,
oh, EMS fell out.
Oh yeah,
EMS
see,
fell
me
out.
being the medic showing up on that, I'd be like, okay, so the cop obviously treated you, but how in the?
Yeah.
he treated you all right.
I mean, I was like, that's the only thing we had. You know?
Yeah.
You got a Band-Aid? No, I have a panty liner. Will that work?
No, this
Yeah, put
is
it
not
right
a panty liner, man. This is like a super extra heavy duty max pad or something. I mean, this was like for a
See how bad
combat
he's
free
bleeding. Does he
shooting.
need low flow or does he need high flow?
Right.
No, this was high
Was there-
flow.
did they
This
have
was high
wings?
flow because it did not bleed through.
Yeah,
The
that's-
wings, yes. Did they have the wings? Right.
He said
Yeah,
that it
that's
now
what
You
stuck
get
to
that
his
little bit
forehead.
extra tape.
So
The
poor
things
Norm
you've
is
seen as a
dying.
medic, yes. So the things
How
you've
did
seen
we
as a
go
medic.
from wait? How did we go from 9/11 to Tampax on your face?
I have no idea.
This
Our
is we have
show is diverse.
we have a very wide topic
At Grizzly.
selection this evening.
That's
At Grizzly, yeah. Come on, Andy.
very, very wide.
Mhm.
Our show is very diverse. So yes.
Diana Fetterman wants safe shooting spots. Now, Diane, I'm not reading yours no more. I got to read it to myself first. So, yeah, she gets me every time on something, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, Diane, where on earth is there a safe shooting spot?
I wasn't going to
Well,
ask because I was
ranges,
afraid.
but
Gun
still.
ranges. There you go. Gun ranges.
Yeah, gun range.
So,
Until you get some idiot that decides to use a tracer round or something
Oh,
and
no,
burn the
man.
building down.
I know some cities that think that the whole city is made for safe shooting.
I worked in that city. Our fire station had holes in it. We would not go out on holidays because bullets were just falling down into the parking lot. Yeah.
I mean, DC, there's some fire trucks that got some
Unbelievable.
holes in them in DC.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
you
crazy.
know what's funny talking about DC is when they had those damn bottle rocket wars. Have you seen those on YouTube? When those people in the hood get those damn Roman candles and
It
they have
happens
those
all the
wars.
time. Yeah.
My God, you talk
I
about
think-
some crazy stuff. They chase him around, and dude, they got like three underneath their armpits going like boom, 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 and just sparks and stuff, grenades and what? I mean, dude, that's wild. Then you got the
Right.
ones from the third floor waiting. Here they come, George. Here they come. Get ready, light it, light it.
My last,
And
my
they're
last
laughing
4th of
so
July.
hard that so Sean says Grizz, his new nickname is K. What's K mean? TikTok Grizz. Oh, Tic Tac Grizz. Oh, Tic Tac. I got you. I was a little slow on that one too.
Great.
Oh,
Now we got
Tic Tac.
Yeah, Tic Tac. Yeah. See, 9701 just got it.
Mhm.
Last
I
one to
did.
get it, so,
I did. I'm still looking up the point. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
yeah.
I was going to say, are we going to have to
He's,
throw a rope in
he's
that
going
rabbit
into the
hole? before we go out?
his wife's purse and getting stuff for the first aid kit. That's
Exactly. I like that. Yeah. Pack the wound. Pack the wound.
My last 4th of July in Washington, D.C., we had one of those bottle rocket wars, and the whole neighborhood it looked like a war zone. There was like a fog and a smoke over the neighborhood. And my neighbor decided he was going to Roman candle me from his upstairs bedroom. Yeah, that was fair game. It was on. I set his bed on fire. I shot through the window and hit the ceiling, bounced down, and landed on his bed.
No, that's bad. That's bad.
No, it was fun. It was fun. But I'm older now, so
Yeah.
I know better.
And you'd still do it twice as much.
And I would
I
hurt
believe it.
3 times as
believe it.
worse. But yeah. Oh, I've been set on fire during those things. I've been, yeah.
You're older
Well,
now. so
who
you've
was it? The
perfected your
Jack,
game.
the Jack with the ASS that put the bottle rocket between his cheeks and let.
Oh, tons of those are floating around.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
Mhm.
What in the world would possess you? That like
It's
that?
hilarious.
You
It's
know, those videos where they do that challenge thing, boy, those things are out of hand.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
The ghost
Yeah.
pepper? Man, maybe, but Anything past that? No.
Oh man, hold up.
Ghost pepper. I don't remember anything about a
wait
ghost
minute.
pepper.
No, I
It's
got
like
a
the
video
one
for you
chip
all.
where you eat that ghost pepper potato chip.
Stand by. Let me find this video.
Oh, yeah.
If anybody's got diarrhea, you can't watch it.
All right,
So,
so
I'm just letting you know right up front.
we went from feminine hygiene to anal hygiene. Oh, there's that
Hold
word.
up.
It was there last week.
Hold up.
At
Let me find
Sportcat.
it.
At Sportcat.
Oh, I'm just after this week. I'm ready for it. So.
Do you hear the Jeopardy theme?
I know, right?
I could have had that, and I was going to play it earlier, and I didn't.
I feel like this week my life has been in jeopardy. So.
Your life has been fine. Stop beating yourself up.
Oh, what's
No, it's just been the car, mom, and I found out my sister-in-law watches this show. So, hello, Karen.
You know what you need? You need to go to a day spa. Trust me. Spend the whole day there, get a massage.
Okay, so I want to ask a
play
question.
around in a mud bath.
Mike is the most girly man I know, second to Grizzly. So, have you ever had a pedicure?
I have. I love them.
I made a joke though because I took a picture. I took a picture of something and my foot was in it. And one of the guys was like, "Oh, I had my feet propped up," and he's like, "Oh, you should sell them." So I was joking with my wife. I said, "We can make some extra money." So she was talking about getting a job. She goes, "You know what? Screw that. I'm not getting a job. We're going to a pedicure. We're going to get a pedicure right now." And I'm like, "For what?" And of course, I didn't do it, but so no. I didn't get a pedicure.
And for the record, if your wife has an OnlyFans account, she's not allowed on this channel. I'm not interested. I don't want it.
Look, let me tell you what good a pedicure is. Do you know that every sensor that control, like if you have a headache, there's a certain spot on your foot that you rub and it'll get rid of your headache. You have a backache, there's a certain kidneys. You can increase your kidney function by a certain spot in your foot to massage. So pedicures are actually wonderful. You should try them.
I might try a perm too one time, but
well, it looks
he
like
did. Look what happened.
It burned out of your head.
left it all too long. The nair.
He did. Look what happened.
I'm not using your Grizz's barber. No.
Mine is Mach 5.
Nothing wrong with Grizzly's barber. Does a good job.
Yeah, I do it myself. That's right.
He only stops halfway down, though.
I seen it one time. He was grooming that thing, and it just looked so perfect.
I'm waiting for him to come in with one of those that's just. I saw some pictures of that earlier.
He's got
today
mutton chops, you know.
He does a good job. He brushes it, and he does this, and it makes it look good.
This is really getting more information than I wanted.
He's his own groomer. He's his own groomer.
Is he like a cat? Does he lick it too? I mean, yeah.
I don't know. Grizzly, do you inhale that thing when you're
asleep? Dude, do you have a sandpapery tongue?
Hold up. I found the guy's channel. I'm trying to find this guy's thing. Andy, you're going to come out of your wheelchair tonight.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Wait, let me get my seatbelt. Hang on.
I'm telling you.
Andy, hold on up there.
I showed this to my parents, and they about literally, I mean, it was awful. It was awful. Let me see here. I got the channel. I'm trying to find the video.
Mike, are y'all supposed to get the bad weather tonight?
I don't know. I know we're supposed to get a little rain, but I didn't hear anything about being bad.
Because I was flipping on the Weather Channel and they were saying in Mount Vernon, Virginia tonight, and my ears perked up, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute."
Well, we have two mountains between us and the DC, the National Capital Region. So a lot of times we either get a whole bunch and they get nothing, or vice versa.
No, not that one.
I think we were cleared out of it. I think up there where Grizz is at, they got hammered earlier, but
now, last weekend it was very windy. It was very bad. We had a lot of mountain fires and stuff. That was interesting.
Oh gosh, yeah. Here in
Mike.
they did too.
I did a lot of crawling around the mountains.
Yeah. Oh, and then afterwards, Knoxville Fire Department played a prank on April Fools. Another prank that went wrong. They took a picture of the LA County fire chopper, and they pulled it out of their picture, and they put KFD's logos on it, Knoxville Fire Department. They put it on a scene with the city skyline, and they posted it April 1st. It said, we're going to start hiring the crews and training people. This is our newest piece of fleet. We've been approved and has been delivered this week. People fell for it. Oh my God, made the news. PIO got in trouble for that press because it was an official press release and everything. I thought I was in trouble. Oh yeah, look that up.
Wow.
It's pretty funny. So probably not to the old PIO, but the new PIO probably finds it very humorous. So yeah. See, jokes can go too far. I've learned that this week.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was great that Knoxville Fire Department got in hot water for doing that. So, and I mean, the city of Knoxville is maybe, I'm probably going to get added for this, maybe 21 square miles, and it's mainly urban. There's very little rural inside the city limits. There would be absolutely no need for a helicopter, and people fell for this hook, line, and sinker. Wow.
Just have too much. Did they just have too much time on their hands? Had nothing better to do?
I think people like to put their nose in places it doesn't belong. And I could be speaking about more than one thing right now. So. But yeah, I mean, I watched a comedy special, and I can't remember what the comedian's name was. It was one of the younger ones, Kevin Hart. And, well, he may not be young, but he was talking about how comedy is dead. You can't make fun of anybody. You can't make jokes. Everybody gets too upset, too bent out of shape about stuff. Calm down, people. If you don't laugh and smile, you're going to have a miserable week like I did. So
I found it, ladies and gentlemen. Stand by.
And by the way, Kevin Hart is 43.
Well, it's still young to me. So I don't know how old you are.
46.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am not responsible for y'all viewing this film. I'm just letting you know as I bring it up. So just
views and comments do not represent Sportcat that he's about to display.
I'm just telling you. I'm just throwing that out there, ladies and gentlemen. This
Grizzly.
Grizzly LLC is not responsible for whatever happens to you. I'm gonna go ahead and hit present, and let's see here. Where are we at? It didn't pop up. That's not a good sign. There we go. Share screen. It's not a good sign when it didn't pop up. All right, stand by.
No, it's not.
Ain't saying a word.
All right,
the girl at the picnic.
All right, here we go. Blow it up. There we go.
Have a good day.
Oh, Lord.
Now, this is years ago, ladies and gentlemen. This is years ago. I mean, years. Did it freeze? Oh, there we go.
Something tells me that fella's about to be in some kind of trouble.
He might have throat spasms because of all this.
Not really sure what this fella's thinking by holding those peppers that way, and what I assume he's going to put them in his mouth.
Watch.
Smell the pits.
He's yeah. Oh, and look, he's got little arm bands on, so he won't strain anything.
And make
Way to go, Andy.
That wasn't me.
So he's voiding his space for more.
Clark.
Joe Drummer.
Metal Beast here. Today, I am 100% totally freaking screwed. Because what I have here in front of me are the hottest peppers in existence in the world. Whenever I need a hot pepper, my go-to guy is Ted Barris, a.k.a. the fire-breathing idiot. He's sent me Moruga scorpions, Trinidad butch teas, ghost peppers. He sent me all the hottest peppers in the world. And I made the mistake of contacting him about a week ago. I said, hey, what's new? What's new in the chili world? And the only two words he told me were chocolate Bootla.
I bet there's no chocolate in that.
I thought that the Carolina Reaper, which is this pepper, and now currently the hottest chili in the world, I thought that this is what I contacted Ted. I was like, yeah, give me some Reapers and I'll eat them. He said chocolate Bootla. And apparently he's an experienced chili eater. He tried to eat 2 of these things and he said the taste of it and the burn of it was violent. It's a violent burn. You know, Steven, who goes by Stand By and Fire on YouTube, is a chili head. He reviews chilies and he grows chilies. And he was kind enough to send me a giant bag of ghost peppers, chocolate Bootlas, Carolina Reapers. I don't know if he wants to see me die, but I'm sure as hell going to give it my best shot today.
Hey, but just for safety,
get ready for the violent burn, kids. Do not try this at home. I am somehow an expert at this. Not really. Got 911 on speed dial, and
he's got no speed dial.
I'm an LA beast. I'm about to dominate this chocolate Bootla.
Did I just hear him call Mama?
No, they had to edit it.
Kid,
It
come
took him
on,
so
man.
long
Mind
for him
over
to
matter.
even to try it. He was that scared.
All right, so he's 818. He's chewing up. It's in his mouth. He doesn't appear to be in distress.
But his face is starting to turn a little red there.
Luckily, those armbands are helping him out right now, so he won't strain his wrist or elbow.
I'm so glad there's a fire extinguisher right behind him.
I know.
He doesn't even have a glass of water.
A gallon of milk.
No.
Yeah.
It's one down.
Sugar works best. Oh, poor fellow looks like his soul may be tormented.
Holy shrieking shnikes.
Pretty sure his eyeballs just bulged.
It was the worst mistake of my life.
Is that his music playing?
Yes, that's his music.
I hate hot peppers.
That doesn't go with us.
Wow.
Going through his intestines going, I hate you.
Not sure
Drooling already.
If it's going to burn more
Sweating.
coming back up or coming out.
The challenge is to eat 2 of them.
One down, my friend.
He should have just shotgunned us.
Flames come out of my mouth.
Exactly. He's thought about it too long.
That is violent.
Violence. Wait to get on the toilet later on.
There's a ninja in my mouth.
There might
It's
not
like
be one
Mystery
left.
Science Theater.
3,000.
You want me to eat 3 of these?
I don't believe this fella's gonna make it.
If it's that bad and he doesn't
I can't see.
the rest, he's stupid.
He can't see.
Things are starting to get dizzy.
I'm in the medical field. I'm a trained professional. Do it.
My mom's twirly.
In ears. Face. Tell you like.
Smell the pits now. They're stinking.
Oh.
No.
Oh. Oh.
There's not one single drug that you can give to this man to save his soul right now.
Welcome to childbirth.
He's
I might throw up.
He's going to give him a little baby.
Maybe he's going to throw up. It's going to come up twice as bad.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
I love the subtitles. Wow.
Do it, man. You're going to get one down.
My whole mouth is on fire.
Fire extinguisher, the fire extinguisher. There, the shakes.
So this poor fella Is this kind of what an exorcism looks like?
I was gonna say,
Oh
it
my
turned
God.
around. I'm shut it off.
I'm going up.
You know the way Grizzly described it? I pictured that we would suddenly see a brown
Oh, this is no joke.
behind him.
The Oscar goes to this guy.
I'm going up.
The Christ, the power capacity.
In his right hand, he has a bucket. In his left hand, what does he have?
I can't last 5 minutes. Oh,
Oh, he's got a gallon of milk. This is going to be entertaining.
Air testing.
Oh, the sound of someone retching.
I can't see. Oh.
That poor fella, everything went from his head. And he just gave himself a face of milk. All right.
What was it all about?
That would be speaking in tongues.
that is hot. That is violent.
Violence.
I can't see. I can't see anything. I think I'm going blind.
Gold blood.
But can he still play pinball?
It feels like my face is melting off.
Towards me. Run towards me.
Whoa.
He can't see to dial 911 now.
I've eaten hot peppers in my day.
Is that milk expired?
I don't think it would matter.
It's an absolute freaking goddamn mistake.
You use skim milk. That's your problem.
Come in here and eat chocolate Bula.
2%.
Yeah, don't
No,
do
I'm not a freaking pepper eater.
Now we're in confession.
Hell no.
I'm sorry.
Hell no.
I'll never do this again if you'll
Hell
Now,
just me.
this is when he's getting closer to God.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go, John. Welcome back.
In honor of the Carolina Reaper being the new 2014 Guinness Book of World Records holder for hottest chili. Why not eat it? I'm going to 100% regret this.
This fella's still going.
I must hate myself really, really badly. I'm the LA Beast. I just spit on the chair. Carolina
I'm pretty sure that there is a seizure.
That's yeah. Look, hold the head up. Hold the head up.
I believe if you put that fella in the WWE ring right now, he could beat something.
That's what it sounds like. I'm going to watch here, you know.
Okay, so you're gonna have to post the
These
link.
two of the hottest peppers in the world.
Oh, I didn't know that happened. Wait a minute. Hold up. No, that's not the right video. No.
That's not the right video. There's another one of these?
No. So what happens is in the video, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that is, let me hold up. Before I do anything, let me stop sharing this. I do apologize. So what happens
Everybody
is
likes
in
a
the
little
right
emesis.
video, he sits there and he dumps the whole gallon of milk on his head, runs to the fridge, grabs another gallon of milk, and he tries to drink it, and he looks, he sees the fire extinguisher, and he puts the fire extinguisher in his mouth. It looks like it comes out of his ears. That's the video I was trying to play, so I do apologize about that. So
Hey, don't worry. Somebody will.
I couldn't find my mouse in the dark, because I was like, oh my god, because that's not the original video. That one, that must have been the first take or something. So
keep up with your mouse and your rabbit now. So
yeah. So, anyways, but yeah,
It was still
wow,
you just
interesting. I can tell you that much. But now the first one was really funny because, like I said, he had the fire extinguisher and everything going in there. So, but yeah.
So maybe we should also have a segment where we have people send us videos to play. Not necessarily people vomiting. I mean, but that are funny. So,
yeah.
All right. So next week on our show, keyword there, our show, Mine and Grizzly, Para Our Normal Guys, at gmail.com. Next week on the show, crap, I pushed the wrong button. We have, no, that's this week. He's already been here. Stand by, I'll get this straight. I had it up earlier. We have Jason Crum from the Bunker of Truth. He is a popular podcast disc jockey, and he has some stuff to tell us about conspiracy theories. So get trained here.
Bunker of Truth.
Bunker of Truth. And if anybody wants to add me something, they can send me some reindeer beer from Washington State. I would really like that.
Chris is like, Grizzly, this video is sponsored by Pepto-Bismol.
Last video should have been sponsored by... I'm not even sure Pepto-Bismol would have helped that.
I didn't know that was in it.
Omeprazole. Make sure you get your Omeprazole.
No, that guy needed a lavage. That was the only thing going to save him. Or Jesus, one or the other. I'm not sure.
Oh, Lord. Good night,
See, I
y'all.
said that, Chris.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And this song is brought to us by Al Ludwig of the Johnnies in Knoxville, Tennessee. He is the official song. See, maybe one day soon, Grizzly and I'll get together and have a 12-pack of beer.
Yeah, right. Isn't that true? Good night, ladies and gentlemen, coast to coast around the world. Good night.
Ta-ta for now.
Bye-bye.